Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. An impressive performance by Team USA today in its third exhibition game before the Paris Olympics. The United States defeated Serbia 105-79. Steph Curry, 18 points in his first 11 minutes. He finished with 24, including 6 threes. Curry, certainly a difference maker on this squad, explains ESPN NBA reporter Ramona Shelburne.
He stretches the floor and creates so much space. Even when they guarded him, they can't guard him, right? Even when they're fouling him, they can't stop him from making those threes. And you create so much space with him out there. But when Steph is hitting shots like this, they are unstoppable offensively, because now all the guys that drive to the hoop, all LeBron and Jason Tate, all those guys have so much more space.
Kevin Durant is making progress with his calf injury, getting closer. No word yet on his status for Saturday's exhibition against South Sudan. New Alabama football coach Kalen DeBoer took the podium for the first time at SEC Media Days. He called it a great honor to follow Nick Saban at one of college football's greatest programs. He had high praise for his staff and team, especially quarterback Jalen Milroe.
Hey, it's Courtney Cronin. Coming up Thursday, we'll continue to react to ESPN's top 100 athletes since 2000 and wonder who will be left off of it. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Pluckers. Day 3, we are live, Radio Row, SEC Football Media Days. Our coverage all week long, presented by Parrish Construction and Roofing. Visit parrishbuilt.com. And, of course, also presented by Rev Business and Relief Windows. Ton to do today. I would say the most star-studded day, Alabama, Texas, and then 2 contrasting programs with Jeff Lebby in year 1 at Mississippi State. And then the Florida Gators, is it Billy Napier's last year with Florida? Could be when you look at that schedule. So a ton to get to here over the next 3 hours, and we're pumped to have you here. But we're going to start with Jim Nagy, Executive Director of the Senior Bowl. Jim and I were having what I thought was a really interesting conversation about some of the talent around the league, and so good opportunity to grab him as we start. How are you, sir?
Good, Matt. Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Well, thank you for the time. Let me start. For those who maybe aren't familiar with your process, let's just lay the foundation here. Your process for why you're here and sort of laying the foundation for building rosters for the Senior Bowl.
I've joked a bunch this week. My wife asked me when I left, "Why are you going there?" Something's working, Matt. Our numbers are up. We're coming off our best year. We had 110 guys drafted, 10 first-round picks. So something's working. I don't know what it is, but I'm not going to stop doing something we've been doing for 6 years. And it's great to do this. It's great to get on Radio Row, promote the game a little bit. Most importantly, I talk to these coaches on the phone quite a bit. I really like getting in front of the players, and just we give them a little recruiting piece that we hand them, and I just wish them good luck. Talk to them a little bit about their last year in college and what the game can do, and that's about it. It's
so interesting that, was it last year you all made the decision to start inviting juniors?
Yeah, the decision was made. It wasn't us. It was the NFL League office. A lot of people think it was us. Shoot, if it were us, we would have made that decision a long time ago.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, the NFL League office made that for us. I think to tell you where we're at in college football, how differently, there was always a feeling that they didn't want the all-star games to serve as an enticement for guys to leave school early. Well, now none of these guys are going to leave early if they got NIL money. We had a number of guys. One just walked by the table here, Jedi Barron from Texas. He got an invite last year and went back to school. So guys I think the league understands guys aren't leaving school to come play at the Senior Bowl. As great as I believe our game is, that's not happening. So yeah, now we can bring all the juniors.
I want to talk about
in the NFL is, all those years where they were cranking out, from Jaron Reed and Deshaun Hand and all these, great NFL players. That, it was every year you go in there, it was like the next man up type of thing. And, they've had a couple good ones, like Byron Young a couple years ago in the second round of the Raiders. We had him in the Senior Bowl, but there's not like that bona fide, they're not Quinnen Williams in Tuscaloosa right now. And that again, that's just strange. So there's been a drop off. Obviously the last couple years in the secondary, last year, Terry and Arnold, Cooley McKinstry, good players. The year before that, Brian Branch. And I know they've got talented young guys. I don't follow the high school recruiting too much. I know there's dudes ready to step up, but they don't have, when you're looking at the roster right now, like who's going to be the first or second round pick, I don't know if there is one.
Yeah. What about I'm not asking you to like project college seasons. I know that's not your role here, but my contention has been it's hard when you lose 40 players in the transfer portal, like to maintain. You're going to lose talented guys. You're going to lose consistency. What about on the offensive side? Where's the strength that you see, the talent, the projectable talent offensively for Alabama and then for LSU?
Okay, well, Alabama, I think the big question mark along Radio Row and in the space is Jalen Milroe. Can he take that next step as a passer? And I know just talking, like he's tired of hearing that. My question is, do they have enough around him to make the next step? Nye Black, the tight end who went to Texas, and Isaiah Bond, the receiver, those are two good players. Now, Kendrick Law's got to step up. I heard today, they're talking about how fast Kendrick Law is. He's got to step up and make plays. So do they have enough playmakers? I don't know. I think they'll be better at running back. They've got a couple of Justice Haynes being one of the guys. He's a talented young guy. LSU, Mason Taylor's a really good player, the junior tight end. Being at the pro day for Jaden Daniels' workout, and, of course, you've got Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas out there doing their thing. Mason Taylor kind of stole the show for me. Maybe it's because I didn't know as much about him, but I didn't realize how athletic he was. Now, his dad played in the Senior Bowl. He's in our Hall of Fame. And I've seen him make the touchdown catch to beat Alabama. But I didn't know much about him. But, man, that dude's – he's talented. The receiver room, there's going to be some question mark. Kyron Lacey's got talent. He just needs to be more consistent catching the football. The C.J. Daniels kid from Liberty is a guy we liked last year for the Senior Bowl. Really savvy route runner, great catch skills. You put the ball up to that guy, he's going to catch it. You'll see that. The question with him is going to be speed. What's he going to run next spring? From a scouting perspective, that's going to be the question. I think it was a great portal get for him. He's going to come in and play right away, I would expect. And then I put something on Twitter the other night. Garrett Nussmeier is a guy, very small sample size, but just watching the bowl game the other night, those 49 dropbacks, there's some really good NFL translatable stuff in Garrett Nussmeier's game. So if I'm LSU fans, I feel really good about what we got at quarterback.
That I did want to ask a follow-up about Nussmeier there.
Yeah.
Is how much can you tell? I would say with Garrett, he checks every box, right? He's got good size. He's got the arm strength. He's got the confidence. He's the son of a coach. Good football IQ. He's check.
Yep.
He just doesn't have the sample size.
Mm-hmm.
So without having seen him play a full 12-game schedule, what can you really know?
Well, you can some of the instinctive stuff in that one game, like you could see the pocket collapsing around him and him sliding and finding space to get off throws. The one clip I put on social media, you could see him. He went front side to back side on a read, came off and delivered the football accurately in traffic, kind of a tight window throw, shows the – so there was some good stuff. What you don't know is what's he going to be over the course of a season, right? When it's not going well. And it does – every quarterback. Jaden Daniels hit some rough patches, and he was the Heisman Trophy winner. What's going to happen then? Those are the things that the NFL is going to look at. How does he lead this team? Someone asked me, what's Quinn Ewers got to do? What does Carson Beck have to do to be a bona fide first-round draft pick? Well, if you're an NFL team taking a quarterback up there, you're saying he's a franchise quarterback. You're saying this is a guy that we can go to Super Bowls with because of this guy. If you're drafting him up that high, if you think he's a guy that you can go to playoffs with, and if you're good enough around him, trust me, I worked for some teams. We had Matt Castle when I was in Kansas City one year, and our whole thing every year with Matt in Kansas City was if we put enough pieces around him, we can win games. But if you're drafting a quarterback in the first round, you're saying he's the dude. So that's what they're going to be looking for with those two players is when Quinn Ewers and Carson Beck have to put their team on their shoulders in a situation to win the game, they have to do it this year, and they'll be looking for the same things from Nussmeier.
He's Jim Nagy, Executive Director of the Senior Bowl there in Mobile. I know Hester and T-Bob and Rivers have been able to go out and be part of those festivities the past several years. It's been great content. We look forward to that every year. Before you go, maybe a guy that was here this week, that's not the big name brand that everybody's talking about, yours or Milroe, whatever, that you're really intrigued to watch play throughout this season from any of the schools that might be a Senior Bowl target and a guy that we'll be talking about at the end of the year?
Under their radar, that's a good question. I would say, again, he's probably not under the radar because he's here, but Trey Harris, the receiver from Ole Miss, and the only reason I say that, we invited him to last year's Senior Bowl. He's coming back. There's some Jordan Jefferson in this guy. I mean, I really like him. I think he's being underrated right now by the draft community.
Okay.
You're seeing a lot about Luther Burden. You're seeing a lot about some of these other receivers. You're not seeing as much about Trey Harris. I think the guy's probably a second round, day 2 type of wide receiver, and see where it could go. Kind of like I felt that with Ricky Pearsall last year from Florida, who ended up going in the first round. Trey Harris I think is better than what a lot of people think.
Jim Nagy, Executive Director of the Senior Bowl. Thanks for the time, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. This was awesome.
That's our pleasure. We appreciate Jim. Of course, Jim, big contributor as well on all of our Eagle 98.1 game day coverage. He visits with Musso every week, so we appreciate Jim for the time. Our show Open Every Day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy in Louisiana with the great taste of Bud Light. Our friends over at Mockler, man, they do just great work. It's rare that you will be at a community event without seeing the Mockler beverage and the Bud product. So drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR. We'll knock out our first break of the show. Continue from Radio Row here at SEC Football Media Day in 2024. Stick around.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Glow Resources, GLO, glowresources.com. At Glow, they are complete employer solutions. If you're a business owner, maybe you're an HR coordinator, you're a marketing manager, you're the person in charge of hiring, you need Glow Resources. Glow Resources is going to make your business more efficient. They're going to make you run more efficiently. They're going to find the people that help make you more productive. And when you talk about Glow Resources, they have a 93% retention rate. So when you hire Glow Resources to help you find that person for that job that you need filled, 93% retention rate, and they guarantee their success. If it doesn't work out, they'll find you a new employee for free, or they'll give you a prorated refund. What do you have to lose? Be more efficient. It's Glow Resources. Yes, they're based out of Baton Rouge, offices everywhere, and they place employees all over the world. Online at glowresources.com. GLO, glowresources.com.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Saban office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Saban have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Pluckers Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Pluckers Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
A lot of change around the SEC, but one thing that continues, the Tigers and the Gators keep playing every year, man. A guy who pretty familiar with both, Florida running back Montrell Johnson, who, of course, from New Orleans, prepped at De La Salle. Good enough to join us on Radio Row. How are you, man?
I'm great, man. Going throughout this media day, feeling good.
I was talking to you a little bit before, we were coming out of the break. You said, man, you're not really like a media guy. This isn't really like a comfort zone for you. So what was the experience like, having to just go like through the car wash, the room to room to room, getting the questions for 3 hours?
It's kind of like this thing that me and Coach Napier talked about. He told me that I got to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And I kind of I felt like, okay, I'll try this thing out, see how it goes. And it's going good so far.
I want to talk a little bit about your season coming up, man. God, I look at Florida's schedule. It's one of you come to this thing and like everybody tends to have you come away with theories about each team, like talking points, and everyone talks about Florida. They're like, man, it's schedule. Florida schedule. Mm-hmm. Do you and your teammates talk about like how daunting that schedule is this year?
Not at all. It's crazy because like we see it as a regular SEC schedule. We don't see it as any different. And we kind of see it as 12 opportunities for us to go out there and compete and prove ourselves right.
Coming into this year, like, let me ask you about your quarterback returning. Obviously, Graham Mertz comes back. What's it like playing with him offensively?
It's great playing with Mertz, man. Like, if you don't know the play, Graham is going to get you right, And he knows everything that goes on the offense. From the O-line, the receivers, the running back, he knows it all. From the defense as well. Like his mind is amazing. It's crazy.
Is there a time you forgot to play and he had to tell you?
It's the opposite. It's crazy. It's the opposite. He actually got it wrong. I was like, nice, the other play. And, like, we're sitting we were arguing mid-game. Like,
what game was it?
It was LSU game.
Oh, last year against LSU?
Yes. I'm like, Graham, no, it's this. He's like, oh, my bad. Huh?
Did the play work?
Yeah, it worked.
Okay. Did you get the ball?
Yeah, it was like a 5-yard game. Yeah.
Okay, all right, we got it, man. Speaking of that game last year, man, it went LSU's way, obviously, and Jay Daniels was awesome. I would imagine, like, on one hand, it's a bummer watching your team lose like that. But on the other hand, you got to look at Jaden and go like what? So what was that experience like watching a one-of-a-kind performance?
I'm not gonna lie, it's crazy because I remember I'm on the bike while the defense is out there. I'm trying to get ready, trying to make sure my legs is good for when we go out there. And he goes screaming down the sideline. I'm like, what? I said, that's crazy. But I thought he was going to get caught, but, like, he runs like a baby deer. Like, it's crazy. Yeah, he's an amazing player.
He's fast, agile. We're going to miss him. That game, obviously, against LSU's back in Gainesville this year. Mm-hmm. Did you have family come up for the LSU game last year?
A lot of my family came, yes, sir.
What was the any of them in purple and gold?
My cousin, I don't know why he showed up in a purple and gold jersey, but he was sitting with my family. He was the only one like out of cutter. I don't know.
Oh, man. Wait, so was he sitting in the Florida section?
Yes.
With your family?
Yes. With the LSU jersey.
Bro, I got to get it. You have a picture of this? I got to get a picture.
I do.
Of this.
I took a picture with him after the game.
Somebody has to have a picture. That'd be so good, man. For you personally, when you started to think about this upcoming season, man, you had like individual. Do you do like the individual goals thing?
No, I'm not really too big on goals. I'm not. Probably team goals, but not individual goals.
you know, and you started your career as well with the Cajuns in Lafayette, right? And then transferred over. What is it about Billy Napier that was so that gives you so much confidence that you've played for him, both places?
Just knowing that at UL, just knowing that he did it at UL. I've seen it firsthand. Just knowing that like how he approached each and every day. I've seen him done it already, and that I followed him here. I expected the same thing.
Yeah, man. Well, they're giving us the wrap, man. Last thing, give me a pregame ritual for you, man. What do you do before the game?
I gotta have a fruit snack before the game. I eat a fruit snack before the game. I listen to my music. I go work out. If we're home, I go work out. If we're away, I do like a band routine. Then after I work out, I'll stretch. Then I'll put my pads on and stuff, and then put my headphones back on. And
what do you listen to?
Either Meek Mill, I would say Young Boy, and there's one more. Who else? I can't think of them right now. But they're the main two, though. Yeah.
It's all good, man. Hey, I appreciate a couple of minutes. Good health and success this year, man. We appreciate you for taking some time.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
Be well. All right. It is After Further Review. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. That is, of course, Florida running back Montrell Johnson from New Orleans. Went from the Cajuns to the Gators, and LSU will see him down in the swamp this year. All right, it's After Further Review. Glad to have you hanging out on this Hump Day edition of AFR presented by Pluckers. We appreciate Montrell for jumping aboard. We're brought to you by Parish Restoration. You can always visit parishbuilt.com, hit the Restoration tab. I've been telling you about Parish Restoration for years now. It's just, a new name, new branding. Of course, Parish went from Mold Zero to Pure Restoration, and then my guy Jim Woodworth merged with Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley to create Parish Restoration. So if you want to kill mold, remove odor, other harmful pathogens, maybe you want to sanitize a school, an office building, a medical facility, maybe you have a workout facility that you have the sweat odor in it, maybe it's your home and you have pet odor in it, this will knock it out. Give our friends at Parish Restoration a call. Go to parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Go to parishbuilt.com and hit the Restoration tab, and you'll see the info right there that you need. It's Parish Restoration, parishbuilt.com. The Gators are definitely one of the more fascinating teams here this week because when you look at Florida historically, you're talking about a team that always has tremendous expectation. And Billy Napier was hired in the same year, of course, as we know that Brian Kelly was. And so, right, wrong, better, worse, those two, their careers and career paths are going to be measured against each other. As a matter of fact, earlier today, Billy Napier, when he was meeting with reporters, it was looking at the fact that they're in year 3 and sort of how they're pacing right now in year 3.
Change doesn't happen overnight. I think ultimately, timing is everything, right? I think when we took the job, what we inherited, the work that needed to be done, I think we're on schedule to some degree. Should we have won a couple of games down the stretch? Would I have liked to close some of those games out in the fourth quarter? Absolutely. But reality is, I think from a system standpoint, process standpoint, in-house, the culture, I think we've made tremendous progress.
6-6 year 1, losing the bowl game to finish 6-7, and then last year at 5-7. So it's one thing to say you've made progress and you feel like you're on schedule, but your record doesn't actually reflect that. Will it pan out differently? You get Graham Mertz returning. You got a guy like Montrell Johnson, who's a veteran back, who knows Billy Napier really well and knows his offense really well, obviously. But, man, it is really hard to look at this schedule and find me 8 wins, let's say. Florida opens up against Miami. Then they're at home. That's a home game now. Then they play Samford, which should be a win. Texas A&M at home. At Mississippi State, a non-conference game against Central Florida. And then even if you manage to make it through those first 5, Miami, Samford, A&M, at Mississippi State, Central Florida. 1 road game in your first 5. Let's say you make it through that 4-1. Okay. Now you're at Tennessee, home against Kentucky. Even if you split those, you're 5-2. Now look at what's next. Georgia, at Texas, LSU, Ole Miss, at Florida State. they very well will be underdogs in their final 5 games, and I think will lose their final 5 games. That puts you at 5-7. Like, even if you get there at 5-2 to those final 5, it's hard to imagine making it through that with your head above water. Georgia at Texas, LSU, Ole Miss at Florida State. That's why I always say it. It's not just who you play, but also when and where you play them. And that is a brutal, relentless stretch to finish the season for Florida. We ask it every year, like, who's here? We always look at the coaches that are here for the first time, and I'm always curious, like, who's probably here for the final time? Well, if Florida loses the final 5 games of this season, I don't think Billy Napier is back next year. Another guy who certainly would appear to be on the hottest of hot seats is Sam Pittman. The Arkansas Razorbacks will be here tomorrow. It was Bama, Mississippi State, Florida, and Texas here today. As a matter of fact, Florida's taking their turn on Radio Row. We expect that Texas, who did visit some spots earlier, should be here in the next 30 minutes or so. So we hope to be able to round up somebody from Texas, one of the Longhorn players down here on Radio Row, coming up in hour number 2. We're glad you're hanging out with us here on a Hump Day edition of AFR presented by Pluckers. We are on Radio Row. Earlier today, as we mentioned, Mississippi State did take their turn on Radio Row, but I had a chance to visit with Zach Salmon, who's the athletic director at Mississippi State. And in all the years I've come to media days, I could probably count on one hand the number of times ADs have been here. But Zach Salmon's come the past 2 years, and I had a chance to visit with him this morning. And I want you to hear that conversation because we covered a lot of ground. He's a fascinating guy who grew up in a Oklahoma family, football royalty family. His dad's in the College Football Hall of Fame. He played collegiately at Wake Forest. He worked at Oklahoma, then worked at North Carolina, then back at Oklahoma before becoming the AD at Mississippi State. So fascinating guy with a lot of different perspectives, and we covered a lot of ground. You'll hear our conversation with Mississippi State Athletic Director Zach Salmon when we return on AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by the Watermark Hotel and the Renaissance Hotel, 2 amazing hotel properties in Baton Rouge. Watermark downtown, Renaissance Southtown. Get them by and see our friends over at the Watermark and the Renaissance. Look, if you got family coming in for a game this fall, make sure they stay at either the Watermark or the Renaissance. The Renaissance is the LSU team hotel during football season. So you want to stay where the Tigers stay during the season, it's the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet. But Baton Rouge's premier hotel property, the Watermark Hotel downtown, voted by you the best hotel in the Best of 225 award. So I've said it for years. Now you don't even have to take my word for it. You agree. The best hotel in the Best 225 awards, the Watermark Hotel in downtown Baton Rouge. Walk in, experience all the beauty, the elegance, the history that they've maintained in that building while adding modern amenities. The Gregory is just a gorgeous dining experience right there in the lobby. The lobby bar is great as well. Check it out downtown. It's the Watermark Hotel.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $20,000 off new 23 Ram 1500 trucks. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $20,000 off the powerful Ram truck. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Lebby for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. It's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Pluckers Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Pluckers Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Day 3, Radio Row SEC Football Media Days, our coverage all week, presented by Parish Construction and Roofing, parishbuilt.com. Of course, also presented by Rev Business and Relief Windows. Our pleasure to be joined by the Mississippi State Athletic Director, Zach Salmon, his second go-round here at SEC Football Media Days. How are you, sir?
Doing great, Matt, man. Thanks for having me on.
It's absolutely my pleasure. I've come to a dozen of these or so, and I could probably count on one hand the number of times an AD has been here. So why are you here, man?
Hey, wouldn't miss it. We got Coach Lebby's done a great job since he's been on with us and bringing 3 of our players. I think it's so important. One of the things that we talk about at Mississippi State is just having great connection and a family feel. And I think this is a big deal. When you talk about young men coming to this stage, and last year even for me, I've been blessed to be at a lot of different places, and you go to Nashville and see it. You're like, this is a huge operation, and kudos to Commissioner Sankey and the SEC staff for putting all this on. But it's a lot for young people too. And so just being here to support our guys and really showcase all the great things that we have going on in Starkville.
Man, it's such a formative time as well. And your path is really interesting. Played college football at Wake Forest. You've been at Oklahoma for a long time. Family were obviously a great legacy at Oklahoma as well. North Carolina. So you've been around. One of the big things that people here are talking about is this shift, obviously, with NIL, with revenue share. I'm so curious, you've been on the job since last January, right? So just about 18 months thereabouts or so. How much of the last year and a half has been figuring out what a revenue share would look like? Because it feels like that's such a formative shift and something you inherited right away.
Yeah, it's a lot. You focus on so many things that are at the local level, like what, even coming to a new place, all the moving parts of who are the players on campus, the meeting sequences, all of those things. But then from a national level, you spend a lot of times on the scenarios of what ifs and what it looks like. I've been fortunate to have, I would say, a master class in leadership lessons from, former mentors. And, I think back over, just about a decade ago now, boss I had at North Carolina, we went through a lot of models of taking what the NFL looked like from a CBA standpoint and how that would translate over to college.
A decade ago.
And so it wasn't necessarily know this, but it was always just, hey, how do we rethink things? And so I've been, what we do isn't necessarily rocket science. It's very complex and there's a lot of challenges. But I think at the core of what we always talk about is we're still providing education opportunities for young people. And the economics, that might look a little different. Mm-hmm. But again, it's something I think, just because of the people and the mentors I've been able to work for and have been thinking about how this could work for a long time.
Yeah, it's interesting because I've probably had those conversations for the last 18 months or so. It's interesting that you've said you've sort of been tilling the soil for a decade here. So what do you think right now is maybe the biggest challenge, the biggest hurdle that we were talking to Ross Dellinger from Yahoo yesterday. He was talking about some smaller athletic departments even pursuing things like private equity. What are some of the big challenges you think that as this next 12, 18 months unfolds that you face?
Yeah, I think because of the way the runway will happen quick, and there's not going to be a lot of time to figure it out. Once we know if a settlement goes through, like it's going to be activated quick. So we got to, again, from an operational standpoint, where do those funds come from? Something's got to change there. But I do think you can start to implement things that we can be better from a business perspective. You look at, for me, again, what we do is all about education. And if we go away from that, then we're failing. And so with different resources, I know even now with NIL, with a new rev share component, I think the main thing that we've got to do is make sure that we equip our student athletes, whatever the rev share model looks like, with the tools to be educated. I grew up with two great parents and that pushed me academically, but we never talked about finances. I had no clue about taxes, anything like that. So what we're gearing up for is continuing to, we started an athlete services division last year and hired a gentleman that came over from the University of Arkansas so we can equip, student athletes. Everything is catered to the student athlete, whatever it might be. Clearly Title IX is a big issue that we still have the unknowns and where we end up with roster limits and how do you practice. It makes things look a lot different when you talk about, again, roster limits for scholarship limits and everything else that goes with it. But I think there's so many unknowns right now, but I think one of the things that we really focus on are what are some of the things that we can control. And if we can't control them, we're studying it, we're prepared for it, but we got to be so bold in the things that we can control that we can be ready for whatever comes.
Zach Salmon is our guest, Mississippi State Athletic Director. You were telling me before we started talking, you've never gotten to see a game in Tiger Stadium yet.
Never.
Are you bummed that the Bulldogs and the Tigers aren't going to play this year?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the longest standing football rivalry. The game that's been played the most time in LSU history is against State.
Yeah, really excited to get there at some point. But I was, as a, I guess a college football nut since I was born, I've always looked at venues and that's one that you always want to go experience. Clearly LSU's got an elite fan base and the history and tradition of that program. You hear if you're wearing the purple, everybody loves you. If you're in an opposing team color, it's not so great. But went to a baseball game there. I think it was a super regional years ago. I was at a different institution and just the smells of tailgating. And I think that was the first time that I experienced from afar SEC baseball. And then clearly at State, what we have at Duty Noble is just elite.
Yeah.
But yeah, really excited. I played at Clemson's Death Valley, but I hear LSU's is elite.
A little better. Was it the 2013 Super Regional, the OU LSU Super Regional? That was the Aaron Nola, John Gray Super Regional. I mean, that was phenomenal theater the way that and the good guys won. So we'll say that. Speaking of OU, so you would have been, if I'm doing my timer right, you would have been late teens when LSU and OU played for the national championship in 2003 down the Dome. Were you at the game?
At the game, yes, sir. It was man, you talk about one of the best college football teams I've ever seen assemble. That team, and it's just some special games, but you always talk about these rivalries, and that's what I'm, one of the things coming here, it's always like the turn of the calendar of we're about to start playing some football.
Yeah.
And you think about the matchups that have happened, hearing pads pop is like music to my ears. That's a love language of mine. So I'm excited about it.
You, obviously growing up an Oklahoma guy, now the Mississippi State Athletic Director, how do you feel with OU coming into the league from your position as an athletic director and what that does to buoy the conference?
Yeah, I think it's great. Going from, 14 to 16, one of the things you feel of the competitiveness of the SEC, but also the collegiality. And again, that starts with Commissioner Sankey, and everybody wants what's best for their institution, but also most importantly, how can we advance the league forward? So adding Oklahoma and Texas, I think, is a great thing for us. We love competition, and anytime you get to go against, two great programs like that, we're really excited about it. And all their sport programs, and that's something that I think every institution in the SEC wants to have broad-based programming and not just compete for, rinky-dink championships, but everybody wants to compete at the highest level. For us, women's golf winning an SEC championship this year at Mississippi State was really special. And that's the expectation we have, I think, and that's the expectation that Texas and Oklahoma have too. all of us have that,
Yeah.
and it's going to be really fun.
Do your parents wear or your family wear the crimson and cream or the maroon and white whenever State and OU play?
They're maroon and white.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Oh, yeah. At least they tell me that when I see them, that's what they're wearing.
I got a couple more things I would love to ask you about Jeff Lebby. I will get a chance to hear from your head football coach for his first time here. I'm just curious in these first months since he's been hired, what's impressed you about him? What is the reason that gives you confidence that he's going to be the guy to lead State back to
just
to
got
prominence?
a clear plan of what he wants to do. And these transitions are so unnatural. I mean, you're at one place, 1 minute you're picking up and moving to another place. You're learning about the institution. You're learning about the histories and traditions, all of that. But I think it's a vision that he's got for his program. One, the connection, understanding our people in Mississippi, understanding the high school coaches, the junior colleges that we have there. He knows the recruiting aspect of it. And I think the schematic side of it, he runs a style of play that a lot of people like to play for. And you look at, the youth participation numbers in football in our footprint specifically, the quality of talent, everywhere you look in the state of Mississippi, you got elite talent. And that being so close to us. So that's one of the things I think somebody that understands how special it is, fits in great with, the culture of our institution, and clearly somebody that's hungry and, loves competition, loves to have an edge to him. And he's done a great job since he's came, from the recruiting standpoint, the transfer portal, really turning over our roster, but having an idea of what type of player that he wants has been really special.
Mississippi State Athletic Director Zach Salmon, before you go, you played at Wake Forest. You also worked at North Carolina, so you have a foothold in the ACC footprint. Would you be looking forward to games, conference games against Stanford and Cal?
Hey, my ankles swell up on long flights, so I don't like swollen ankles. It's a long ways to go. We play at Arizona State this year, a night game, and that's one that's it's always tough on the players. Again, moving a couple people around is one thing, but moving football programs around, it's a challenge that far.
It's going to be great theater, though, seeing some of those brands play each other across country. It'll look different, but it's still going to be great theater. Yeah. I mean, I think college football is in a great place. We appreciate the time. Thank you so much for a couple of minutes.
Absolutely. Thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Zach Salmon, Mississippi State's athletic director. Super impressive guy who's done, an awful lot. His first opportunity as an athletics director, and you get that job in the Southeastern Conference at Mississippi State. It was interesting because of the conversation we had yesterday with Ross Dellinger, who specifically mentioned when we were talking about the revenue share, and he mentioned by name a program like Mississippi State. Now, Ross is a Mississippi State alum, so I think that was probably top of mind for him. But when you think about some of the schools, not only in the SEC but around the Power Four, that aren't of the revenue drivers like a Texas, the top 20, right outside that, you wonder how you start to plan and manage. But what was so fascinating was to hear him say, even when he was at North Carolina a decade ago, they were planning for possibilities of things like that, which goes to show you the type of foresight a lot of these athletics administrators have in trying to project what a changing landscape of college sports and college football will look like. I mean, consider a decade ago would have been 2014. A decade ago would have been when Anthony Jennings and Brandon Harris were playing quarterback at LSU. That's how long that's been. And that's when they were, having those types of conversations. It's pretty fascinating. Hey, AFR is brought to you by Optimize, GeneratorPeople.com. I'm actually looking at these giant, beautiful windows here at the Omni in this part of the convention center. And some rain falling. It's cloudy here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Something with rain and inclement weather we deal with in our part of the world. And, of course, that always and generally can lead to power outages. Don't get stuck without power. Power goes out, boom, your Generac automatic home standby generator powers on like nothing happened. Your entire house is powered. We installed a generator after Ida. We'd encourage you to do the exact same thing. And if you're going to inquire about a generator, you need to call the best. You need to Optimize. There's a reason why they are Louisiana's #1 Generac dealer. At Optimize, they have 4 physical locations spanning the entire 10-12 corridor. Their newest location, if you're going into New Orleans, you exit Loyola. Right there, I mean, like you're heading toward the airport. I mean, boom, right there off the exit is where the newest Optimize is. So they can physically get to you quickly, and their people, all they do is sell, service, and install Generac automatic home standby generators. It's not an electrical company that also does generators, or an HVAC company that also does generators. They're not like an alarm company that also does generators. No, they are the generator people. So go to generatorpeople.com, generatorpeople.com for Optimize, generatorpeople.com. Okay, y'all, it's After Further Review, Day 3 here, Radio Row. SEC Football Media Days. Hump Day Show is brought to you by Pluckers. Thanks for being here with us. As I look down Radio Row, we're expecting the Texas players to make their way. Quinn Ewers in that number today as well. So we'll talk a little bit about the day that Texas had, and a lot of the expectations around the Longhorns as we put a button here on our number 1 from Radio Row, Day 3, SEC Football Media Days.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Clegg's Nursery. 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area: Seagan near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Buy local, shop local. We tell you every single day. Hey, look, I always encourage you to go follow Clegg's on Facebook. They do a great job of updating their content there regularly, so when they get a new shipment of flowers or plants, they generally will post them there. If there's a new product they get, I'll tell you, we had Drew's birthday party this past Saturday, and of course, it's a swim party, it's outdoors. And one of the things that I know I had tremendous peace of mind about is we weren't going to have mosquitoes. They've got the Aeon Mosquito Eradicator. You've heard me talk about it for years. It's like the size of a track baton. You take the top off, fill it with water, shake it up, hang it on your property line. Boom, you're done with mosquitoes 90 days at a time. It's over at Clegg's Nursery. So get them by and say, hey, what's the mosquito thing that Moscona always talks about? You'll find it at any location of Clegg's Nursery.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Rev Business is here to connect your company beyond your storefront. We're here to power your passion, improve your communication, and link you to your customers with the services you need and the local support you deserve. Backed by our commitment to 5-star reliability. For a limited time, get internet plus 2 hosted phone lines for only $133. A powerful combination at a great price. Visit letsrev.biz. Rev Business.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Saban office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Saban have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Lebby for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Pluckers Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Pluckers Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
The next, I want to talk briefly about Coach Saban. Coach, I see you. I know everybody's been coming up talking about you, but and I know you've impacted a lot of people who have been up on this stage. No one have you impacted more than me. I would not be standing here today without you and what you've meant to my career, to my life, and I can't thank you enough. And the impact that you've had on our game has been second to none, and I just can't thank you enough. I want to be able to publicly do that to you, Coach. Thank you very, very much. The next I want to
interesting. Steve Sarkeesian, as he's making his opening remarks earlier at SEC Football Media Days in the main room, Nick Saban was in the back of the room at the SEC Network set. So Steve Sarkeesian was quite literally in a gigantic ballroom at the front of the ballroom speaking to Saban over the heads of about 500 reporters who to Nick Saban, who was at the time in the back of the room. And Sark's not wrong. I mean, remember, Sark was the head coach at the University of Washington, then got the USC job. And he lost the USC job because a very well-publicized alcohol addiction, and coached in his next job was as an offensive analyst. Nick Saban in 2016 gave Sark his opportunity to get back in, and then became the interim OC, and then went to the Falcons, then back to Alabama for 2 years, and then the head coach at Texas. So Steve Sarkeesian's not wrong. I mean, without Nick Saban giving him that opportunity, and it wasn't just an opportunity, it was an opportunity at Alabama, which was the premier program in college football. So, yes, in many ways, Nick Saban did resurrect Steve Sarkeesian's career. He owes a tremendous amount to Nick Saban for taking that chance on him at the time that he did. Well, now Texas is the toast of the town in many respects. That they were in the college football playoff a year ago. They returned a ton. They're going to be a preseason top 5 team. Everyone's going to project them to be in the SEC championship game and back in the college football playoff. Here was Steve Sarkeesian talking about coming into the SEC.
As far as our transition in the Southeastern Conference, I think the key word is respect. We have a ton of respect for this conference. We have a ton of respect for the teams, the coaches, the players, and the fans. This is the elite conference in college football, and we're fortunate enough to be part of it. And we won't do anything without having a level of respect of who we play, where we're playing them, the types of players that they have, the coaching that they have. And I think on the flip side of that, we have to go earn their respect. We're not going to get anything in this deal. Nothing's going to be free, okay? We're going to have to go earn the respect of our opponents, the opposing coaches, the opposing fans, and that's going to be kind of on the forefront of what we do. But the beauty of this conference is really the pageantry. You know, I've been fortunate enough to have spent 3 years in the Southeastern Conference. The pageantry of the games, the stadiums that you get to play against, the iconic programs, that's the beauty of the Southeastern Conference. And the fact that we get to be part of it now, it's finally here, is pretty exciting. It's just a great opportunity.
Steve Sarkeesian again earlier today talking about coming into the SEC. Both Sark and Brent Venables, I think, taking the right approach head on. I mean, you wouldn't expect either to say we're afraid or half-stepping, but with respect, but excited for the opportunity, something that has been 3 years in the making. The reality with Texas, though, is look at their schedule. Week 2, they are at Michigan in the non-conference. So they go Colorado State at Michigan. But remember, Michigan is replacing a ton from their championship team a year ago. Then it's UTSA, UL Monroe. They'll open up SEC play at home against the Mississippi State Bulldogs, and then they get a week off before they play the Red River Rivalry. The toughest game on the schedule is a home game against Georgia. Then they go Vandy, open date, Florida, at Arkansas, Kentucky, at A&M. I mean, their road conference games are Vandy, Arkansas, A&M. I'm not sure that if you had given Texas a blank slate and said, fill out your year one schedule. They avoid LSU, they avoid Bama, they avoid Ole Miss, they avoid Tennessee, they avoid Missouri. It is a path paved in gold for Texas. If they are not in the college football playoff, it is a woeful disappointment. Sports Center's coming up. We'll kick off hour number 2 from Radio Row at SEC Football Media Days, here presented by Pluckers.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center. Call 924-2020, 924-2020, or williamsoneye.com. If you want to see 2020, call 924-2020 for the Williamson Eye Center. I've told you about my experience forever, and I can relate it now because I'm traveling this week. Before I had LASIK with Dr. Blake Williamson, and I was coming to an event like this, and if you wear contacts, you know this, I would have had to pack my contact solution, my contact lens case, my extra pair of contact lens in case if I lost the lens, ripped the lens, something like that. I would have had to pack my glasses for when I take out my contact lens at night. That, nobody really updates there. When you have contact lens, you never update your glasses prescription, so it's like 10 years old. I would have had to pack all that stuff just to come on this trip. All I had to pack this year was eye drops. I mean, it changes your life to wake up in the morning and to see. Don't wait another day. Call the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020, 924-2020, or online, williamsoneye.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Lebby for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Saban office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Saban have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com. Oh, by the way, we do shutters too.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I'm Christine Lisi. Steph Curry hit 6 threes among his 24 points today as Team USA beats Serbia 105-79 in its third exhibition game ahead of the Paris Olympics. Anthony Davis, Bam Adebayo combined for 14 rebounds. ESPN NBA insider Brian Windhorst.
AD has been the best defensive player on this team so far. He had 6 blocks in this game. Jokic was off. He was playing the second night of the back-to-back, 6 of 19 shooting. But AD, Bam, and even Joel Embiid, who he was getting better. He's not scoring much, but he's getting his feet underneath him a little bit. All contributed to that shutting down of Jokic, which led to a really impressive win here.
In the loss, Nikola Jokic's 8 points, 7 boards. The next exhibition matchup for the U.S. South Sudan Saturday in London. Texas football coach Steve Sarkeesian told ESPN they'll probably need both quarterbacks, Quinn Ewers and Arch Manning, this season, and he will not handle his QB room any differently this year. No surprise who the favorite is at this week's British Open. Scotty Scheffler, the outright favorite in a major golf tournament for the 4th and final time this year, plus 500 at ESPN Bet. The second best odds, Rory McIlroy, plus 800.
Hey, it's Courtney Cronin. Coming up Thursday, we'll continue to react to ESPN's top 100 athletes since 2000 and wonder who will be left off of it. It's on Sportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, presented by Pluckers. We're here live, Radio Row, SEC Football Media Days, Day 3. Alabama, Florida, Texas, Mississippi State, the 4 teams taking their turns today. Our coverage all week long is presented by Parrish Construction and Roofing, parrishbuilt.com, and also presented by Relief Windows and Rev Business. Thanks so much to our sponsors. It's quite literally the reason why we are able to come bring you this coverage every week. So many, many thanks to Parrish Construction and Roofing, our title sponsor, Relief Windows and Rev Business. Billy Napier walking down the Radio Row right here. Is going to go visit with our friends over at 1010XL in Jacksonville. And Napier is certainly an interesting talking piece here this week because there's always great expectations at Florida. But the first 2 years in Gainesville have certainly not been up to their standards. And while they may be better this year, the schedule is just a brutal hill to climb. So we'll see how that may transpire. The story of the day was Kalen DeBoer and Jalen Milroe taking their turn here. And it is listen, y'all, like, you listen to this show, you know where I stand, okay? Everybody who's credentialed at this event knows where I stand because every interview I've done, I've been asked about the Bama's burning stuff. And the point that I've made pretty consistently is, look, I could make a very rational and leveled, very measured argument for what I feel. You lost 40 scholarship players to the portal and through transfer and NFL, so you turn over half your roster. You lose the greatest coach ever. You lost 2 cornerbacks to the NFL. Your defensive line isn't great. Jim Nagy was from the Senior Bowl said that point blank here. It said Alabama's defensive line does not look like Alabama's defensive line normally does. You lose Dallas Turner. They don't really have weapons on the outside for Jalen Milroe to throw to. They've lost a ton. Alabama has lost a ton. You're in the SEC. Vegas has them 9.5. Vegas thinks the same about Alabama this year as they do LSU. Again, say it again. It's not to say they're going to be bad. I'm not telling you they're going 7-5. They're not going to crater. They're not going to bottom out. They're not going 5-7. But they're just not going to be what we've come to expect from Alabama forever. And even Kalen DeBoer, when he met with the reporters this morning, he was first up at 9 a.m. One of the first things out the gate was him acknowledging, yes, like there was a gap with the roster and the staff and everything that they had to work very hard to fill after Nick Saban's retirement.
They understand that there was a gap that needed to be closed early on.
And I say that because anytime you institute and you're incorporating new strategies, whether it's offensively, defensively, special teams, along with just getting to know and building new relationships, there's a gap that you have to close because the programs that are continue to hit the ground running, continuing to kind of add to what they've done in the past because of their familiarity, they're in a place, and now I think we've closed that gap, and now the whole thing is focusing on, separating ourselves.
I don't know that I believe that you've closed that gap in a short amount of time without playing a single game. They did go through spring football, and maybe one of the more intriguing things that I've heard coming out of Alabama is a familiar feeling that things are that the feeling around the building is different, almost like it's lighter, it's easier. I don't mean to say easier in a negative connotation, but just the demands, the rigor. Kalen DeBoer's approach is very different from Nick Saban's, and my contention is and will continue to be that demand that Nick Saban placed on everybody in that organization, from his coaches, his support staff, his players, down to the people who are the ones who put together recruiting materials and those who are preparing the food, and everybody. It's such an incredibly high standard that nobody's going to match it, and that's the gap that I think Kalen DeBoer is going to struggle to fill. Now, Kalen DeBoer was asked naturally about the pressure following Nick Saban, which is unenviable, but something that he clearly is willing to embrace.
I totally get it. Understand, there's only one Coach Saban. There will only ever be one Coach Saban. And this program is special, and I guess I just take it as a great honor to be the one that gets to do everything we can to carry on the great tradition. But for me personally, it was just more about just understanding that coaching football is coaching football to some aspect, and you got to try to simplify it down as difficult and complicated as you can make it. I've done this for enough years and seen what good culture looks like, and maybe even what a culture that needs to improve on looks like. And it's been just an awesome blessing to be a part of this program, to continue to have that expectation on us. The alternative is to be at places where there aren't expectations.
That is true. And there could not possibly be a place with greater expectations than what Kalen DeBoer is inheriting there in Tuscaloosa. But he's also inheriting a quarterback that many people are very high on. When Jim Nagy was here in hour one, if you missed it, executive director of the Senior Bowl, I did ask him about the quarterbacks. We talked about Jalen Milroe. And his contention was maybe less on question about Milroe, but a bigger question of whether or not there's enough around Jalen Milroe for him to take that next step as a passer. But when Kalen DeBoer was asked about Jalen Milroe, the thing they kind of focused on was just that, was how Jalen Milroe is working to improve as a passer, which is very clearly the thing first and foremost that Milroe needs to improve if Bama's going to get back to where they want to be.
He can make the throws, and I think he's continued to grow in that area, building confidence in himself, just tirelessly working with the receiving core, actually all the skill players to just, be on the same page. He's continued to expand on his game with the different throws he can make down the field. He's been strong. A year ago, he was one of the best in the country with downfield throws. I think he's continued to work on those higher percentage throws that you need to have to move the chains and all of that. But he dives into it.
I'll maintain that one of the reasons primarily that Jalen Milroe, and I'll say the same for Stetson Bennett the year before, had great success throwing the ball downfield is because when you have skill guys that are flat better than everybody, you're going to have guys that are open downfield. And you had Jermaine Burton, and you had Isaiah Bond, and you had your number 3 pass catcher a year ago was Amari Nyblack. Well, guess what? All 3 of those guys are gone. Jermaine Burton's in the NFL. Isaiah Bond plays for Texas now. Amari Nyblack plays for Texas now. Jermaine Burton last year averaged 20.5 yards per reception, had 8 touchdowns. He's gone. Who are the guys that Jalen Milroe is going to throw to? Maybe they find those answers, and maybe they're better than everyone again, and maybe. My point is, forever with Alabama, there hasn't been the maybe. It's been a solidified understanding of what they are. Maybe I'm just sitting here convincing myself of what I hope happens, but I feel like I can do a pretty good job of removing the label because forever I've been the one who sat here and said I always give Alabama the benefit of the doubt. They'd earned it because they had the greatest coach ever. They had built the most stability, and they just don't have that anymore. Now, specifically with Jalen Milroe, it was an up-and-down start to the season. But I can even look at the better teams that they played. When Milroe played against Texas last year, he was 14 of 27, completed 51% of his passes. On the season, he completed 65% of his passes. Against Texas, 51%. 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. It's a very average outing against one of the better teams they played. We saw against Michigan in the Rose Bowl. He was 16 of 23 for 116 yards. No touchdowns, no interceptions. When they played the better teams, against Georgia, 13 completions, 13 of 22 for 192. When they played the better teams, the better defenses, it didn't look like it did when he played Auburn and threw for 259 and 2 scores. Or Chattanooga when he had 3 touchdown passes and no interceptions. Or Kentucky when he completed 68% of his passes with 3 touchdowns and 1 pick. It was just different when they played the better teams, man. And you take away weapons, you're, I think, going to be lesser defensively because you're not as good at corner, you're not as good on the defensive line, you don't have Nick Saban anymore. Yeah, I think Alabama is a team that regresses this year. I think for the first time since 2010, they're a 3-loss team. And I will be fascinated if that happens, how much pressure starts to ramp up on Kalen DeBoer. By the way, Alabama, of course, does play in Tiger Stadium this year. Jalen Milroe, when he met with reporters, was asked about coming to Baton Rouge and getting to play in Tiger Stadium.
What a great opportunity, being a road warrior. Playing SC is the best conference. I feel as though each and every week you have to give your all, especially being in Alabama. You're going to get everybody's best game. So, we're anticipating a great crowd, a lot of energy. So super excited for the future with playing on the road.
We're brought to you by Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com. Michelli.com, like to weigh the poundage of pressure on Kalen DeBoer's shoulders taking over for Nick Saban. But you can go to Michelli Weighing and Measurement. You weigh or measure something. They sell, service, rent the products that you use to weigh and measure over at Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Michelli.com, Michelli.com. They've been in business for more than 75 years, man. More than 30 offices across a dozen different states. If you weigh or measure something, they sell, service, rent the products used to weigh and measure. ISO 17025 accreditation is there. And remember, they got their mobile calibration unit. So if you have precision measurement equipment that you don't want to leave your facility or can't physically leave your facility, Michelli can come to you with their mobile calibration labs. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Michelli.com, Michelli.com. One more thing from Jalen Milroe. He was asked about losing the last game last year, where they played obviously in an overtime game in the Rose Bowl, where they came up short. The final play that the snap was rolled back to him, as we all remember, and it was blown up, and Michigan went on to win the national championship, as we all remember. And Milroe was asked if he spent this offseason being motivated by that loss.
I'll say there's a lot of things that you can always reflect on from past seasons. And number one for us was last year. We were blessed and fortunate to be in the college playoffs, 1 game away. What burn do you need more than being that close to a championship? And so for us, we're very passionate about each other, but also passionate about achieving short-term goals and long-term goals as we're going along this process. And we can always reflect and learn from it. And so, we shared the same experience from Coach DeBoer with failing to achieve a national championship. So now it's all about refocusing and focusing on our 2024 football season.
Of course, Kalen DeBoer, as Jalen Milroe alluded to there, played in the national championship after beating Texas, played in the national championship against Michigan and lost. So both teams ended up losing last year, as you well know, in the college football playoff. Okay, it's After Further Review. We're live from Radio Row here. Our coverage all week long presented by Parrish Construction and Roofing. You can visit parrishbuilt.com. Fill out the form on the homepage. We'd love to give you that free, no-obligation roofing inspection. Of course, Rev Business and Relief Windows. Let me knock out a quick break. We'll continue here on Day 3 from Radio Row at SEC Football Media Days.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys all over the state of Louisiana. Doesn't matter if you're listening in Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, Lafayette, Lake Charles, Shreveport, Monroe. Doesn't matter. From every corner of the state of Louisiana, if you've been injured, you need representation, don't go it alone. Trust my friends at Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Get Gordon and get it done. You can always go to getgordon.com. That's getgordon.com. Getgordon.com. Or you can call 888-8888. That's 888-8888. Since they opened their doors more than 30 years ago, Gordon and his team have helped more than 10,000 Louisiana residents, and they have recovered more than $2 billion in damages for their clients. If you've been injured, get what you're entitled to get on with your life. Let Gordon and his team go to work for you. Of course, you can log on to getgordon.com, getgordon.com, or call 888-8888. Go to getgordon.com. You know what to do. Get Gordon and get it done.
Elevate brand visibility, ignite customer engagement with the power of radio and digital advertising combined. Guarantee Digital Media brings the two together as a trusted media partner in Louisiana for nearly a century. Claim your free digital audit at guaranteemedia.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $20,000 off new 23 Ram 1500 trucks. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $20,000 off the powerful Ram truck. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, party plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. It's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Pluckers Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Pluckers Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Thrilled to have you back with us here from Radio Row at SEC Football Media Days. It's day 3. Tomorrow, to wrap coverage, will be the Arkansas Razorbacks. It'll be the Auburn Tigers. You'll have Kentucky and Texas A&M in the afternoon window. Actually, it's A&M then Kentucky to wrap up the day. But it'll be tomorrow will be interesting because I find Auburn to be a pretty fascinating team here this year, just because nobody's talking about Auburn. And maybe I have a level of respect for Hugh Freeze, the coach, that lends me to believe Auburn could be poised for a bump this year. 6-6 a year ago, lost the bowl game to finish 6-7. But remember, they lost to New Mexico State. They allowed a 4th and 31 for the goal from the 31 to Alabama. I mean, those two games right there, that's the difference between 6-6 and 8-4 with a win over Bama in year one for Hugh Freeze. I mean, they were right there. Look, they lost to Georgia 27-20. They just couldn't stop Brock Bowers. It feels like Auburn could be the team nobody's talking about that they should be talking about. So Hugh Freeze and the Auburn Tigers go tomorrow. And then, of course, also year one for Mike Elko and Texas A&M. Elko is inheriting a situation where I think of the new coaches, he's got the least amount of pressure. And that may sound odd because you paid Jimbo $75 million, whatever it was, to go away. And so whoever you hire naturally feels like you're going to have this ramped up intensity. But, Bama, the expectations are still high. Jeff Lebby at Mississippi State, I think that's a program that always has very measured expectations. But A&M is a spot where it feels very much like they understand with Elko, kind of like what LSU did with Brian Kelly. You're a great program with a lot of resources, inheriting a bad situation, so you're going to have to give them time. And so any win might feel like lagniappe. Any key win, might feel like lagniappe. So tomorrow, Thursday, day 4, some of the storylines worth keeping an eye on. Kentucky's another one that people really haven't spent a lot of time talking about. And quite honestly, just to be completely candid, of the 50 or so radio stations that are here along Radio Row, I don't know that there is a single station from Kentucky here. They're basically the entire conference is represented, I think, except the state of Kentucky. I mean, there are, obviously, we're here representing Louisiana, our friends from ESPN 103.7 Lafayette. There are Super Talk Mississippi's here. There are stations from all over Alabama, Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, obviously Texas, Arkansas, maybe Missouri. I don't know if our St. Louis friends are here this year. But all that to say, another reason why many people aren't paying much attention to Kentucky. There's not many people here from Kentucky. Maybe there will be tomorrow when the Wildcats take their turn. So, all right, it's after further review. Mia O'Brien, our friend from 1010XL in Jacksonville, she's going to run down Radio Row here in just a quick second. They literally just talked to Billy Napier on 1010XL in Jacksonville. She's going to run down here. I'll get her thoughts on that. We've got Carolin Fenton in about 10 minutes from right now. We'll have Chris Doering later today as well, and Mississippi State quarterback Blake Shapen. We're looking forward to all of that. Of course, our coverage here from Radio Row. Love telling you about our friends over at Shawbills Tire and Auto Service. ShawBillsTire.com, ShawBillsTire.com, with locations all over South Louisiana. They started in Morgan City, worked their way up to Baton Rouge, now west, of course, into West Baton Rouge, Lafayette area, Youngsville, locations all over. There's a location nearest you, so you can find it online at ShawBillsTire.com. That's ShawBillsTire.com. You can search tires. You can schedule service, all at ShawBillsTire.com. And remember, they'll sell you name brand tires at wholesale prices, and they'll keep you coming back year after year after year because they treat you like family. It's Shawbills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com. Shawbills, where we keep you rolling. Glad to have you here, Radio Row, SEC Football Media Days. Very pleased to be joined by my friend Mia O'Brien, co-host of Helmets and Heels on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Good enough to hang out here for a couple minutes, talk some Gators. How are you?
An honor and a privilege.
At
long last, I make my maiden voyage and after further review. Am I going to be known as like the Jaguar after further review girl now? Because that would be an honor and a privilege.
I'd be down for it. I do have to ask you about the LSU guys who are playing in Jacksonville. You literally just talked to Billy Napier.
Yes.
I mean, like, you just did that and then ran down here. So what did he have to say?
Can I actually not punt on that? Because I was listening, obviously, but Frank and Matt did that interview.
Okay.
But can I instead gush about Graham Mertz?
Yeah.
I have been perhaps one of the most vocal. You are mired in mediocrity if you settle for good, not great. Graham Mertz is good. He is not great. Look, I'm not saying he's going to win the Heisman.
Okay.
I was not only very impressed with the personality here today, which Shamar James said to me. He was like, just hold on. You're going to be impressed.
Mm-hmm.
The IQ, the acumen, the memory. Matt Hayes is asking him about his first start back on that Friday night at Wisconsin as a true freshman in the COVID year.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, it's funny you bring that up. I was thinking about it on the plane ride here, how much has changed for me. Walks through his stat line, a couple throws from that game itself. I'm blown away. Like, I am still just bewildered at the fact that as someone who has been so anti-Mertz, I am now all aboard the hype train. Billy knew what he was doing. I actually just said that to, some of your colleagues in Lafayette when I hopped on with them a little bit earlier today. Billy Napier was quick to note, Anthony Richardson has God-given ability that most human beings do not. He was not the right quarterback for Billy Napier's system.
Why? When you look at what's worked for Billy so well, wouldn't you have thought that Richardson is that guy?
No, because Levi, blanking on his last name, his last quarterback at Louisiana Lafayette.
Lewis.
Levi Lewis is not Anthony Richardson. I don't think anybody's Anthony Richardson. I think that Anthony Richardson, a lot of his game is by natural feel, emotion, being a pure athlete. Whereas with Graham Mertz, Levi Lewis, a lot more between the ears. And that's not to say that Anthony doesn't have it between the ears, but he doesn't rely on that intellect to overcome athletic deficiencies that both Levi Lewis and Graham Mertz may have.
Yeah, Anthony Richardson's always been a better athlete than literally everyone he's ever been.
Well, no, and that's the thing, though, is like
exactly,
I think he has relied so
Right.
heavily on that athleticism. I mean, let's be honest here. Like, Trevor Lawrence went up to him after Game 1 last year and said, "Dude, I love your game. You got to stop taking hits. It's gonna come back to bite you." And obviously, it did.
Yeah.
He barely made a full game and threw a full game in 6 games played his rookie season.
Yeah, a month into the season, he's basically shut down. Yeah. So let's say we're sold on
Mertz.
on Graham Mertz.
Mertz is the right system for Billy, but yes, I don't know if that system is the right system for Florida to get to where they want to be.
Okay, so what else offensively is there that's thumbs up? Check the box.
So, I mean, let's, go right to the elephant in the room, which is Montrell Johnson will be the lead running back for the 3rd season in Gainesville, the 4th season with Billy Napier, since he was a true freshman at Louisiana Lafayette with him. Trevor Etienne transferring to rival Georgia this offseason. That hasn't had any sort of controversy attached to it. But that is very much a philosophical debate. The fact that, from the perspective of, was Billy stubborn and stuck with his guy? Did he promise something to his guy? Additionally, did Billy have a plan of Montrell is the lead back, Trevor is a feature back, and then wouldn't adapt to the situation, which the situation is, much like Anthony Richardson, Trevor Etienne has the more God-given ability. He is the one, with all due respect to Montrell Johnson, who was great today at SEC Media Days too. Montrell Johnson's a great college running back. Trevor Etienne is a future NFL running back. It's just that simple. And that's where a lot of the questions will arise. Now, they have a stable of backs behind him. I think that's kind of what Billy envisions. That's part of why you didn't see Trevor Etienne in that feature role, because he wants to rotate his running backs. You have Trey Wilson, who is as do-it-all, a wide receiver, playmaker as there is in the country. I could see him having, depending, of course, on the play of Mertz and the rest of the offense, I could see him having a Luther Burden-type breakout campaign.
Okay.
Because he is that talented. And outside of that, the offensive line's improved, but those are the 2 headliners. And yes, there's transfers. There's a lot of these incoming freshmen that have all the hype, and I respect that. But for me, it begins and ends with, can Montrell Johnson elevate his play, and can Trey Wilson become a superstar at the college level? If those 2 things can happen, and the offensive line can play better than it did last year, then Florida has a fighter's chance.
Okay. I think maybe I'm guilty of this, Mia. Just like, I look at the 2 seasons that Billy's had, and I go, okay, 6 and 7, then 5 and 7. I'm like, this is Florida. They're not going to be happy with that. And if I look at the schedule, I'm like, all right, if you have another 4 or 5 win season, he's going to be gone. Like, is the temperature that hot, like, in actuality?
Some would say that I am the one that's turning the heat up, like I'm pressing the up button on the thermostat because I'm trying to incite that. I'm not. But, we've had many real conversations over the last few weeks on the air of, okay, you were 6 and 7, you were 5 and 7. You want to know who else was in that same neck of the woods the first few years? Eli Drinkwitz at Mizzou.
Mm-hmm.
He just had an 11-win campaign.
Yeah.
So it's not to say that after 3 seasons of 6, 7, 5-win seasons, you can't suddenly have this breakout year once all of your guys are in the building. But, of course, I say that tongue-in-cheek, Matt, because I also want to say, okay, Florida, you're Mizzou. How does that feel? Because they don't want to hear that. But it's the truth. If you want to trust the process in 2024, comparatively to the quick job that Brian Kelly completely turns around LSU, the quick job by Josh Heupel up on Rocky Top took 3-4 years, 2 years if you really want to look at it, completely turns around Tennessee. those are the two programs that you look at and you say, okay, in the age of NIL and the age of the transfer portal, you can turn this thing around quick, versus the slow build of Eli, at the Book of Eli out at Mizzou, which it appears that Billy's reading
Print
from.
the shirts.
Right, which love Eli. He joined us yesterday. He's my favorite little nerd. All my Mizzou friends from when I lived in Iowa were all texting me, and they're like, "You got to hang out with Eli? He said if he was a fruit, he'd be a pineapple. He's so cute." And I'm like, okay, so Billy, are Florida
you can say
fans?
You're a pineapple when you win 11 games.
Are you okay? Right, correct. Are you okay with that being who you are? And Florida fans, at least from our text line and our YouTube chat line, are not okay with saying that they're Mizzou, even with the place that Mizzou currently holds in the SEC.
Okay, two more things.
Yep.
This is the reason why I think Florida is a 5 or 6 win team.
Do you want to hear my hot take?
We're looking at the schedule, by the way.
Yeah,
so
we're looking at the schedule. My hot take is they're either going to start 5-0 or they're going to be 1-4, and I don't know who that one win is. It's one or the other. There's no in between. Just being completely honest.
So Samford is the one that you'd absolutely get.
You would think.
But Miami, A&M, at Mississippi State, Central Florida, that's, by the way, Big 12 Central Florida.
KJ Jefferson, former SEC quarterback.
With KJ Jefferson at quarterback.
Yes, sir.
Game is in Gainesville. But when you look at this, what's the thing that stands out the most?
I talked to Blake Shapen this morning. I was very impressed with him and Jeff Lebby at Mississippi State, so that kind of changes my feelings there. Stark Vegas was always a difficult place to play. Jeff Lebby said his kids, I guess they're all young. Oh, there we go. We got a Mississippi State alum. Love it.
Bulldog.
Yeah, Jeff was like, yeah, my kids are like, I think like his daughter's 6, and he's like, she hasn't put the cowbell down. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. They get A&M at home. I think if they start 3-0, there's momentum and there's a sense of urgency of we will not let this slip. Shamar James just told me in the main media room that, like, finish is everywhere you go in the Florida program, the word finish. And so I think that is where if they start 3-0, they'll go to Stark Vegas and they'll have that energy of do not be satisfied.
Yeah.
It is very apparent, at least in the 3 individuals who were here, the 3 student athletes, that do not be satisfied is like plastered on their foreheads. Even though Graham Mertz is like hilarious and very charismatic, I mean, I think at the end of the day he's a competitor. And so I mean, I firmly stick by it. Like, look, yes, could they go 2-3? Could they go 3-2? Absolutely, and that would be hunky dory. But I firmly believe it's either Billy is the front runner for National Coach of the Year heading into November, or he's no longer the head coach of Florida. It's one or the other.
Those last 5 games, Georgia at Texas, LSU, Ole Miss at Florida State.
I mean, Arch Manning could be the quarterback at Texas for all. Again, I don't want to wish that upon Quinn Ewers, but, like, we don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But, yes, on paper, great, Bob. That gift.
She's Mia O'Brien from 1010XL in Jacksonville. All right, I have, like, 60 seconds.
Yeah, no, you're good.
All right, so 3 LSU Tigers are now Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yep.
Brian Thomas, Mason Smith, Jordan Jefferson. What's been the early impressions of those guys?
Brian Thomas has obviously dazzled on the practice field during the open availability that we've been able to see. I can tell you people in the building are extremely high on him, especially in the classroom. And just interesting just because I've heard mixed reviews here as to how quickly he will assimilate to the NFL ranks from a variety of people here at SEC, from multiple people at SEC Media Days. And I found that interesting because for me, it's no question. Like, I mean, the positive returns from both the classroom, the fact that he won't have to be wide receiver 1 early on, it's a step in the right direction. Ditto to those other 2 guys. They aren't going to be expected to start right away, which is a novelty in Jacksonville because usually first, second, third rounders, day 1, you're out there, plug and play. And that won't be the case. Mason Smith will have time to develop behind Eric Armstead. Jordan Jefferson will have time to develop behind Devon Hamilton. And so I think that will afford them that time to develop that hopefully the Jaguars coaching staff has preached onboarding, that they didn't onboard last year's rookie class well enough. I think that there is such an emphasis on it that you will see the development of those guys where they can develop in, I don't want to say a low-stakes environment, but there's not as much pressure to say, hey, you need to go and get it right now.
Yeah. There's a lot of Jacksonville Jaguar jerseys in Walker, Louisiana right now. Brian Thomas is from. You have this little, like, hot spot on the
Well,
sales
I'll tell you this,
chart
too.
right
So here's the funny part, real quick, if you'll indulge me.
Sure.
Jarian Jones, a third-round pick out of Florida State. He doesn't shut up in the best way possible,
Yep.
the best way possible. And Brian Thomas Jr., Press Taylor said, he's like, I can't get him to talk. Like, I'm begging him to talk. Like, he'll say, like, you know, he'll say, what's the play? He'll say the play. And he'll be like, great job. And he'll just, like, nod. And he's like, okay, like, celebrate, be happy. So, yeah, they've got two polar ends of the spectrum within their first 3 picks.
That's him. Mia O'Brien, 1010XL in Jacksonville. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
I'm going to go upload some more video now. Go into my editing hole so that I can go watch Caitlin Clark at 6:30.
Go get I love the energy. That's so good. All right, it's after further review. We'll knock out a quick break. Our friend Carolin Fenton's here next. Stick around.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Action Industries. ActionIndinc.com. ActionIndinc.com for Action Industries Incorporated. Our friends over at Action Industries since 1982. 42 years, Action Industries, man. They've serviced the petrochemical refinery markets. They just do awesome work, man, and mostly because they know who they are over at Action Industries. If you got a job in one of the petrochemical plants, 100-person job, that's their sweet spot. You're going to get their very best people. I mean, have you ever had a job that size and you hire one of these companies that's usually bidding on $200 million jobs and you feel like you're not their priority? Well, you never worry about that with Action Industries. You're going to get their absolute best people, their undivided attention. You are their priority. It's how they've had so much repeat business over 42 years. It's Action Industries. Check them out online. Check them out on LinkedIn. It's Action Industries. Again, Action Industries, a proud partner of LSU Athletics.
Value Ford has $10,000 off F-150. $10,000 off the new 2024 Ford F-150. And all new Value Ford vehicles come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty. The crew at Value Ford is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com. Oh, by the way, we do shutters too.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
I'm looking forward to 50 more.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Saban office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Saban have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Lebby for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Pluckers Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Pluckers Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Back from Radio Row, SEC Football Media Days 2024. Our coverage brought to you by Parrish Construction and Roofing, also Rev Business and Relief Windows. Carolin Fenton's here. What up?
How's it going?
Awesome. Congrats on the new gig.
Thank you.
Carolin now with Yahoo Sports.
Yes.
So was it, I would imagine, bittersweet leaving your fam there in Nashville?
It was. And as you know, at a radio station, especially a local radio station, it's a tight-knit group. It's like a family, and that's genuinely how it felt. So it was a bittersweet moment leaving and breaking the news to everybody. And my last day was obviously full of tears, but I'm still in Nashville, so still doing some things with the station and filling in, but excited for this next step.
What was more impressive, impactful? What stood out more today? Bama's turn or Texas? What was a bigger takeaway for you?
I think it was Texas.
Okay.
And I frankly, I don't know why. I don't know if it was the impact of this is your first SEC Media Days and that this is an SEC Media Days right in the middle of Longhorn country. So there's so many reporters and everybody is jumping at the opportunity. Even myself. Today I was like, I definitely want to be there for Sark's press conference because this is the first one. And I think it's also, too, the expectations that Texas comes into the SEC with. Of course, Kalen DeBoer has high expectations. Of course, Alabama's expectation is always going to be college football playoff, national championship, or bust. I'm also under the impression if Alabama goes 9-3 this year, like, that's okay. Like, this Alabama roster doesn't have the same level of talent as maybe we're accustomed to with Alabama. And shout out to all of the angry Alabama fans that are hate listening at the moment.
You know them well.
I know them very well. I know that. Hey, from Dallas to Tuscaloosa. But I think it's kind of like Texas coming in with all of the just like the vibe of Heisman Trophy candidate quarterback and a national championship expectations. I think to me it was Texas.
I don't know if you heard, but Alabama fans are having trouble quitting me right now.
I
don't know if you heard that.
So they're still on the wagon, aren't they?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
They just can't quite. They just, like, can't
I don't know what it is about, just football fans in general. You have to just eat up all of the content just to get mad.
All of it.
Like, sometimes I'll even do the same thing. Sometimes I catch myself rewatching highlights from the Florida State LSU game just to piss myself off. What kind of twisted person am I? What kind of psychotic behavior is that? But we all do it.
That's bad. Yeah, that's masochistic behavior. Is what that is. Like you're getting pleasure out of harming yourself. It's like that's not right. I'm like, show me Justin Vincent's run in the 2003 national championship game.
Yeah.
That's what show me Justin Jefferson scoring 5 touchdowns to go over Oklahoma. Like that's what I want to see.
Exactly.
I don't want to watch the losses or any of that junk. Carolin Fenton's, I guess, your Radio Row SEC Football Media Days. Who are we not talking about? I know my answer. Who are we not talking about that we should be?
It's interesting. I think we're going into this year, and everyone's talking about Georgia and Texas. And then there's this interesting, mushy little middle where, like, if you want to put Ole Miss and Missouri at the top of that list, and then there's the middle of Tennessee, Texas A&M. I think LSU falls into that category. I think that Oklahoma falls into that category of really high-ceiling teams, but also could have the potential to have a low floor. I think Tennessee could be 8-4. I think Tennessee could be 10-2. And those are two incredibly different seasons, especially with Josh Heupel going into year 4. One team I don't think that we're talking about enough, and I'm not saying that this is going to be any sort of world beater or a playoff contender, is Auburn's.
That's my answer.
The upgrades at the wide receiver position. I mean, it was you can only go up from the passing game from last year at Auburn. Jarquez Hunter comes back. He's one of the very few, very productive running backs that are returning to the SEC in 2024. I don't think it's going to be very long that Hugh Freeze is not going to be, winning 8, 9, 10 games. I think Hugh Freeze is too good of a coach to be going consistently 7-5.
In Carolina, they lost to New Mexico State, and they were a 4th and 31 away. Those 2 games right there, they're 8-4 with a win over Bama last year.
If Jalen Milroe doesn't make the absolute catch of the decade, we are talking about Auburn in a completely different light. We would not be talking about that New Mexico State game because we would say, okay, what a weird little fluke. You turn around and redeem yourself in the Iron Bowl in Nick Saban's final season.
Yeah.
And even before the New Mexico State game, Auburn came down to the wire against Georgia. Auburn looked really good in even several of their losses. So, and they addressed the most important position, and that's the wide receiver position. They just were not talented at all in that position group last year. I'm looking at Cam Coleman, and I think that's a guy that we don't talk about enough because he's a true freshman, and he hasn't done it yet, but he doesn't look like a true freshman.
There's sometimes you can just tell, that's going to go. Like, when Fournette came to LSU as a freshman, you're like, he's going to be good.
He's different.
You can look at Cam Coleman and go, yeah, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
You know. What do you think about LSU? Oh, no. The deep sigh and the long exhale.
Every time anyone asks me about LSU, they always talk about the offense. Obviously, you lose a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback and two of the best wide receivers in college football that are both first-round talent. I'm not that worried about the offense.
Agreed.
I'm worried about the defense. I am not worried about the coaching staff. I think this is the best coaching staff Brian Kelly has had at LSU. I don't think that's any sort of hot take. I know that this defensive coaching staff is going to be able to get each individual player to their ceiling. They have the capability of doing that. I just don't know how high those ceilings are. They could be incredibly high. The defensive tackle position, how much experience, total snaps, collectively in that room?
You got a bunch of dudes that are 22 and 23,
Yeah, with very little experience. So I'm worried about that. I'm worried about the defense. I'm worried about the lack of experience. I'm worried about taking that next step defensively. Is it going to be better than last year? Probably. Because it was really bad last year, and you're going to be coached so much better, but do you have the talent to get to above average? And can the offense do enough where the defense can be average and you can still be a college football playoff team?
Carolin Fenton's with us, Yahoo Sports. Do you think LSU makes the college football playoff?
I don't.
Me either. Do you think Ole Miss makes the college football playoff?
I do.
Alabama?
It's one of the two. It's either going to be Ole Miss or it's going to be Alabama.
You agree Georgia, Texas?
Yes.
We all do.
Mm-hmm.
And so now you're saying 3.
I would say probably – okay, well, let's look at it. So you're going to have the SEC champion in. So that's 5 conference championship spots taken up.
4 and the group of 5
And the group of 5.
So 5 guaranteed spots.
So that's 7 left.
Yep.
That's also dependent on, is there a team in there that's going to steal a conference championship and then take up another slot in the college football playoff? I think it'll be at least 3. If it is 4, it'll be Georgia, Texas, Ole Miss, Alabama.
So I think Alabama goes 9-3, and they're not in. Just so they may get there, but that's just my thought.
Who would be your 4th?
I don't think the SEC gets 4. I think it's Georgia, Texas, Ole Miss are the 3. I think Tennessee and Missouri have the schedules that are most conducive to maybe getting to 10-2 and getting in. But the bid stealing thing, oh, God, I'm short of time. The bid stealing thing is interesting because in divisionless football, you're not necessarily going to have like 0-1 LSU was 5-3 in the conference, beat number 2 Tennessee. In this format, they'd be in the playoff. But in this format, they're not going to Atlanta.
Right.
So I don't know, like, a scenario where you could see, bid stealers. Pretty fascinating time.
Unless crazy conference championship games kind of shake out and there's a team that has no chance of making the college football playoff unless they win a conference champion game. Like LSU in the SEC championship in 2022. No way they would have made the college football playoff in this existing format. They win that game, they're in. It's an automatic bid and they get a bye, and Georgia would also get in, taking up another slot for a team that probably would have initially been a conference champion, at least in our minds.
But the point I'm making is 2022 LSU as a 3-loss team isn't going to the SEC championship.
Yeah, okay, I see your point.
Right?
Exactly.
Because it's just the two
just
teams
the
with the 2 best
teams.
records, right? So that's where I think you're not going to run up against bids. We don't know. It's going to be fascinating. That's why this is interesting. Like, we'll only know as the sample grows and we see what the committee does and what they value and all that stuff. Anyway, I'm super late. We got to run. Carolin Fenton, Yahoo Sports, thank you so much. Appreciate the time. We'll knock out a break, come back, and wrap up hour number 2 from Radio Row at SEC Football Media Days.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Duplessis Builders, duplessisbuilders.net, duplessisbuilders.net. If you've ever wanted a pool, if you've thought about building a pool, maybe you have a pool at your home, but let's just be honest. It's dated and it needs to be renovated or updated, our friends over at Duplessis Builders, that needs to be your call. Go to duplessisbuilders.net. That's duplessisbuilders.net. Call Derek Duplessis and my friends, and they'll come out and they'll show you exactly these beautiful to scale models of exactly the 3D models of what in the renderings of what your beautiful custom pool is going to look like. But maybe even more important than that, they'll explain the process. At Duplessis Builders, they will not cut corners. They will pass on a job before they agree to cut corners. For example, after they excavate and spray gunite, it takes 21 days to cure. They're not going to rush that process. It takes 21 days for concrete to cure. That's why they're able to offer a 10-year workmanship guarantee. DuplessisBuilders.net.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
There's nothing chill about a hot, sweaty line. Unless you add Mountain Cold Refreshment. Coors Light. Choose chill.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
I've been doing business with Lebby for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Pluckers Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Pluckers Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Super short on time. Apologize for that. Let me touch on two things quickly. By the way, Mississippi State quarterback Blake Shapen coming up right after the top of the hour. We'll have Chris Doering on site with us as well in hour number 3, so we're looking forward to that. Two little newsworthy tidbits here. Number one, of course, it is decision day for DJ Pickett, the 5-star #1 cornerback in America. Yesterday, our friend Billy Embody from On 3, the Bengal Tiger, was here. The momentum seems to be building toward DJ Pickett picking Oregon, but it's LSU, Oregon, Miami. I can tell you, that LSU's NIL offer through the collective for DJ Pickett is more than anyone currently on the LSU football team is being paid through the collective. It is a very, very healthy NIL offer. It's probably not as much as Oregon is offering, but it's very, very good. That coupled with the relationship with Corey Raymond, where DJ Pickett has said he has said his relationship with Corey Raymond is unlike any other. Maybe that's enough to get DJ Pickett into this 2025 LSU class. So we'll get that answer. And then Jay Johnson flipped a lefty from Texas A&M, Cooper Williams. The two positions where LSU could have stood to use a little fortification, a left-handed pitcher and catching depth. Well, they got their lefty today in Cooper Williams. We'll see if they add a catcher somewhere along the way. Hey, we're brought to you by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com, lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Our friends over at Lee Michaels are the best. They always give you the Lee Michaels experience. Gentlemen, if you're thinking of buying a ring, if you're thinking of popping the question, making the biggest decision of your life, how you can show her you love her and let that speak forever, a beautiful diamond from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com, lmfj.com, where you always get the Lee Michaels experience, and you will always get a beautiful, natural mined diamond. You will never get a man-made or lab diamond at Lee Michaels. Experience the Lee Michaels experience at Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Okay, y'all. SportsCenter's coming up. Let's get you caught up on national headlines. When we come back, Mississippi State quarterback Blake Shapen, Chris Doering, and much more. Stick around.
AFR.
Hey, it's a Wednesday night. How about dinner at Supper Club? It's 5 o'clock. It's 4:55 right now. Getting close to knocking off of work. Maybe you're driving home, not sure what to do. Call your significant other. Say, hey, meet me over at Supper Club. Scone, we don't have a reservation. Doesn't matter. It's open seating at the bar, so walk on in. And maybe you get lucky. Sometimes there's cancellations, and maybe the earlier reservations are better. You get earlier seating as well. So maybe give them a call over at Supper Club, or you can log on to supperclubbtr.com, supperclubbtr.com. Right there, Perkins Road, near Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge. You know, we all have seen the Instagrammable pictures from Supper Club over the last 2 years, and it's legitimate. The dining experience is unmatched. It's fun. It's a little unrefined and cool, but also sophisticated. But the food experience is unmatched. It's Supper Club. Get your reservation today at supperclubbtr.com.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. So it's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off F-150. $10,000 off the new 2024 Ford F-150. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. An impressive performance by Team USA today in its third exhibition game before the Paris Olympics. The United States defeated Serbia 105-79. Steph Curry, 18 points in his first 11 minutes. He finished with 24, including 6 threes. Curry, certainly a difference maker on the squad, explains ESPN NBA reporter Ramona Shelburne.
He stretches the floor and creates so much space. Even when they guarded him, they can't guard him, right? Even when they're fouling him, they can't stop him from making those threes. And you create so much space with him out there. But when Steph is hitting shots like this, they are unstoppable offensively, because now all the guys that drive to the hoop, all LeBron and Jason Tate, all those guys have so much more space.
Bucks forward Chris Middleton recovering from off-season arthroscopic surgeries on both ankles. He is expected to be ready for the start of this upcoming NBA season. Texas coach Steve Sarkeesian, during an interview session with ESPN, said he won't handle his quarterback room any differently with Quinn Ewers and Arch Manning returning for a second straight season. He added they'll probably need both at some point this season.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive makes bundling easy and affordable. Get a multi-policy discount by combining your car, home, motorcycle, commercial auto, and more. All your protection in one place. Bundle and save at progressive.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR presented by Pluckers. Matt Moscona live from Radio Row, SEC Football Media Days 2024. Day 3 rolling right along. If you're just joining us, Alabama, Mississippi State, Florida, and Texas taking their turns today here along Radio Row and at SEC Football Media Days. Chris Doering is going to jump on with Paul Feinbaum right about now, and then he'll join us in about 15 minutes. We'll look forward to that. Had a chance earlier today when Mississippi State was through here this morning to visit with State's quarterback Blake Shapen, and there's a couple of things that I find pretty fascinating about Shapen. He's a transfer. That's in and of itself isn't fascinating because a lot of guys transfer now, but he's a guy from Evangel in Shreveport who went to Baylor to play for Dave Aranda, redshirted in the COVID year, and then in 2021 when Baylor won the Big 12, an injury to the starter forced him into the lineup, and he started and was the MVP of that Big 12 championship game. Then a very winding path through the 2022 and 2023 seasons led him to hit the portal, partner with Jeff Lebby, and now he's the starting quarterback at Mississippi State, unquestioned. And it's just very rare here at an SEC Media Days for a transfer quarterback who's yet to take a snap at his current school to be brought to SEC Media Days. Like, by contrast, look at what Florida State did this week or for next week with DJ Uiagalelei, who started his career at Clemson, went to Oregon State, now's the quarterback at Florida State, replacing Jordan Travis. Well, DJU put a statement out and said, he was offered the opportunity to go to ACC Media Days, but passed because he wasn't part of that team a year ago that went undefeated. And I guess I sort of understand that, but this isn't a revisionist history media days. It's for this upcoming season, and DJU at Florida State is one of the most interesting stories in the ACC and all of college football. Well, if you're Mississippi State, what's the most interesting thing? Of course, it's Jeff Lebby, a new head coach, and Blake Shapen, who's coming in from Baylor, who's already been ordained as the starting quarterback. So, yes, Blake Shapen should be here. We had an opportunity earlier today to catch up with Blake Shapen here on Radio Row at SEC Football Media Days. Rolling along, Radio Row, SEC Football Media Days 2024. Coverage brought to you by Parrish Construction and Roofing, parrishbuilt.com, also Rev Business and Relief Windows. Signal caller for the Mississippi State Bulldogs, Blake Shapen, good enough to join us for a couple of minutes. How are you, man?
I'm doing good.
Who is the better Evangel Christian Eagle, Blake Shapen or Jacob Hester?
Blake Shapen.
Hey! Oh!
I'm joking. I'm joking.
Oh, no, you're not.
Don't do that.
No, you're not. Blake Shapen or Brock Berlin. You probably remember Brock.
I know Brock. I know
who
Brock.
He is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Brock was a stud, dude. So was Jacob. All of them are studs.
My last ever high school football game was against Brock in the semifinals in 99.
Yeah.
So not a glory days type thing. I wasn't very good, but that name will be forever seared into my brain. Hey man, when you left Evangel, you were a two-sport guy. You were you were committed to Arizona State, if I'm not mistaken, as a two-sport guy. Do you miss baseball?
Yeah, I mean, I think about it here and there, but it's not something that's always crossed my mind. I felt like I made the best decision for me choosing football in the time that I was in. And ultimately, I think that's where my heart was at the moment, and still is.
You don't ever look over at Duty Noble like, maybe go knock on Chris Lemonis's door.
I'm not going to lie. Looking at that stadium, I'm like, yeah, I want to go over there and knock on his door, dude. Like, it's amazing. Like, that place is amazing. It's electric. It's fun to watch baseball games, and I'm sure the players love it.
Yeah, I'm sure you're probably a little busy right now, though, with what you have coming up here in a few weeks, starting in the fall. It's so interesting, though, as well, just being able to speak to you, being a guy from Evangel. And, when you went to school, you went to Baylor, and Baylor was coached by Dave Aranda, who was at LSU. So there's all these connected pieces. Man, I'll get to this season, but if I could ask, like, what drew you to Coach Aranda and to Baylor when you went there?
Yeah, so I think it was weird because his personality was a lot different than a lot of other head coaches. Like, he's very, like, down and calm, and everything about him was very calm. And so I like that because I like playing the game more of a calm sense of mind, and like inside I like to be calm. And so just the relationship that he built with me in a small amount of time, made me want to end up going to Baylor. And so I heard this school was great too. So
yeah, you started that Big 12 championship game. You're the MVP of that game.
Yeah.
If I had told you that day when you were the MVP of the Big 12 championship game as a redshirt freshman at Baylor, that at this point, you and I would be talking on Radio Row at SEC Football Media Days, and you'd be the starting quarterback at Mississippi State. What would you have thought? What would you think your path would have been?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I would have been here. You know what I mean? Like, just especially with transfer portal nowadays, like it wasn't. Now it's very normal. You get in the portal, you leave. That's very normal at the time. I don't think I would have been transferring or doing anything like that. That's why, knowing that I got in the portal for an exact reason, and the reasons of wanting to play for a SEC championship, wanting to play in a national championship, wanting to play for an offensive-minded head coach is a big deal for me, or offensive coordinator that's offensive mind. That was big for me. So
Blake Shapen's our guest. Compare or contrast, because I haven't met Coach Lebby yet. So, and obviously I knew Dave Aranda from his years at Baton Rouge. So I knew Dave was a very chill guy, right?
No doubt.
It was very hard to get him ever to elevate his voice or his blood pressure or anything.
Right.
He was just always so even keel. So what's it like playing for Jeff Lebby?
Coach Lebby's awesome. Like, he's a player's coach. His personality, his swagger, he's got an aura about him that's just like, people fall in love with, really. Like, it's just like, it oozes confidence. Every time he walks in the room, he oozes confidence. And he's just a great dude to be around, and he's so knowledgeable at what he does, and everyone already respects him just based off of what he's done. He just earns everybody's respect when he walks in the room.
Yeah.
And so, I like his personality. I think he's taken me in as one of the guys so quickly, even though I never really knew him. And we built a really good relationship in a small amount of time.
Yeah, so it's interesting that, like, it's rare that we see a transfer quarterback who had played, like, come here to media days. Remember JT Daniels when he left USC and went to Georgia?
Yeah.
He came here. So, I mean, were you surprised that you were invited here?
I mean, I really don't know. I mean,
Sure.
I had an idea he was probably going to end up asking me just because, like, you know, I feel like we built a good relationship, you know, early on in our process whenever he's recruiting me. And then, you know, me finally getting to Mississippi State and being on the team, like we built a really good relationship. We came pretty close pretty quickly. So it really wasn't too much of a surprise.
Sure. So Rivers, our producer on site, she's a Starkville native, went to Mississippi State. So she's listening. What is the best part about Starkville?
I'd say the food. Food. No, the food's great. The food's unbelievable.
There you go.
The people are great, really. The community's great. I've built a lot of good relationships so far. I've only been there, you know, for 5-6 months. But I've built a lot of good relationships. It's a community that supports their athletics like fully, every sport. So, you know, the people, the food, the community's been great.
And last thing, I'm glad I had the chance to talk to a quarterback because, you know, one of the changes is the helmet comm this year.
Yeah.
So you'll actually have, I would presume it'll be Coach Lebby, right, in your until it cuts off at like the 12-second mark.
I think it was 17.
Okay, it's 17 seconds. So for those who don't know, like in the NFL, this year college football, like the quarterbacks will have a helmet comm in the helmet. So the coach will be able to talk to them up until, so if it's 17 seconds.
I think it's 17.
How do you,
for sure.
Do you like it? What kind of advantage is that as you walk through? I mean, it's going to be different. You're going to literally have somebody's voice in your ear, but like, how have y'all prepped it? Do you like it?
Yeah, no, I like it a lot. It's really, at first it was weird. But then once you start, you know, being normalized with having a headset in your earpiece and all that stuff, like really it's just little small tips like, hey, here's the play. Boom, I give it to the O-line. And I feel like it's only going to up our tempo too. So I feel like that's a big piece. But yeah, I mean, it's not a huge, crazy jump, but I mean, it's fine.
Do you think it because I guess in my head, I'm going, all right, well, now your coach is going to be able to look at the defense for you as well until a certain point. Like, do you think the defense delays what they're going to show?
For sure.
Yeah.
I think so. But the thing about up-tempo offenses and defense, you really just need to get in your set defense. There's no time to show something and then roll to another thing or, you know, disguise. Like, there's no time really because we're about to snap the football.
Yeah.
You kind of got to get aligned.
Really good point. I know all the state guys got their custom sneakers, man. Are you a sneakerhead?
Yeah, I mean, I am. I used to be one in high school, and I still kind of am. I've grown away from it, but yeah.
See, I'm 42, and I've just grown into it in like the last 2 or 3 years.
Really?
So
ever since the dunks and all those things started coming out.
Dunks, the joy. I got 100 pair, man. I got everything. it's kind of ridiculous.
I don't blame you.
Blake Shapen, man, it was a pleasure. Good health, good luck this season.
I appreciate it.
Thank
you. Thank you.
All right, we appreciate a couple of minutes there with Mississippi State quarterback Blake Shapen. See what the Bulldogs have in store year one with Jeff Lebby. All right, it's after further review. Let me knock out a quick break. Peter Burns is here instead of Chris Doering. Or maybe this Chris Doering dressed up like Peter Burns. I don't know. We'll see. Stay here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Rouse's, official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints, Rouse's.com. Rouse's.com. Man, you know, like, if you're driving on I-10 from, like, Lake Charles to Orange Beach, Alabama, there's like 70 Rouse's. No matter where you are, there's one near you. So if you need to make groceries for your mom and them, you go to Rouse's. You want to save money, you know what you do? You go to Rouse's.com or download the Rouse's app. Or you know what you do? You look for the little weekly ad right there, see all the different special items, all the sales items, how you can save money over at Rouse's. Need dinner plans tonight? Don't have dinner plans tonight? Don't feel like cooking? No worries. Let Rouse's take care of it. They got something for everyone in the family. Their hot bar is fantastic. Hot and boiled seafood options. They've got grab-and-go sushi. Go make your dinner plate. It's Rouse's. Something for everyone there. And, of course, all your adult beverages, everything you need for the entire family. It's Rouse's. This feels like home.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary. For those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com. Oh, by the way, we do shutters too.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. So it's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Saban office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Saban have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Lebby for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
The best kept.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Pluckers Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Pluckers Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Hey, rolling along something. Radio Row, SEC Football Media Days. It's day 3. Chris Doering joins us, or was set to join us. Peter Burns was walking by, said, hey, I want to do it too. So he sat down. Mm-hmm. And then Doering
can't let me do anything by myself. I mean, it's always got to be the two of us.
Do you want me to tell him to leave?
No, I love this guy.
Good, I don't want him to leave.
He's been kind of sick, though. You hadn't get close to him, did you?
I think I got the Rona. I'm just going to hang out with you.
We got some. You're going to like these pictures we're going to debut. We got some good. Last year we did the little Step Brothers thing, but we took it next level. It's
going to be awkward. We're probably going to get a call from HR. I'll be honest with you.
Brokeback Mountain vibes.
Can I see the cowboy hat, please?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay.
Why'd you go Ace of Hearts?
I don't know. I didn't know if there was a cool, is there a cool, if you have to get a cowboy hat for the first time and they're going to put a card on there. That works. Oh, see, it's got the LSU part on it.
This one actually fits me.
Yeah.
So every guy that's the players that have come down.
It's radio, a little bit closer to your mouth.
Closer.
There you go. Yeah, there you go.
Every guy that's come down this week that's had a hat, I've asked if I could wear it.
Yeah.
But they're all giant people.
Yeah, I got a dainty head.
This actually, I don't know how a cowboy hat should fit, but this feels like it fits pretty good.
Maddie, pull that off for a second. I think PB went with too much flair. I mean, he went with a feather. He went with a card.
Bro, this is a trophy.
Band.
This is a trophy hat. You think my ass is ever going to wear a cowboy hat?
Well, you're going to have to wear it on the way home. How are you going to take it on the way home?
That's true. I'll wear it there on the way home, but I'm not going to wear it out in public. This is the thing.
Hopefully, you don't see any good-looking flight attendants on the way home.
I've learned my lesson there.
What's the question? Or the company. So just to explain.
Twister hats.
Just to explain for everybody listening,
yes.
All of the players that have come through this week and coaches, they're all gifted a cowboy hat.
So there is
ESPN room that we do like social media stuff, and it's always like really nice.
Is it ESPN or is it an SEC room?
It might be the SEC
yeah,
digital
I think it's the SEC room.
And so they came up with the idea where they were going to put a mechanical bull, and so you take these really cool pictures. It was a picture that Brian Kelly had, right? If you saw the LSU football picture, it's awesome. So my question to CD on our show is what guys were actually going, what coaches were going to do that, and what coaches
would
not?
say no. Who would you go with number one that say no?
Lane Kiffin.
I don't know. I mean, I would say number one to me.
Lane did not do it. I know the number.
But the guy you're guaranteed is not. Kirby Smart doesn't have to do anything. Kirby Smart ain't getting on a bull like that.
I don't know him at all to know, on a personal level, I know Kirby Smart zero. So I have no idea what he would do or not do.
All right. So
what was the number?
The number has been 4 coaches, I believe, that have done it.
Okay, can I guess?
Yes, you may.
So we know BK was one.
Brian Kelly was one.
I'm saying Drink did it.
Drink did not do it, but I will tell you the reason why. It has to do with Lane Kiffin here in a minute. Okay. What other coaches?
But he was going to do it?
Lane basically told Drink did not do it because I'm guarantee you he did not want Lane to give him hell about it. That is
Hold on. You pass this off like fact. Now you're backing off a little bit. Is this a theory?
It's not a theory.
Oh, you heard that.
I believe that's the case. I've also been told that Kirby had a group text message to some of the other coaches in the conference going, if I see that you get on this bull, you will never hear the end of it. And I think some of the other coaches
Kirby's
were
the
like,
bully in that.
I think he is.
Yeah.
I think there's a group text amongst the coaches.
Oh, there is.
And I think Kirby does it.
We confirmed that Sark is in the group text amongst the Saban disciples. He's been added into that now. But I would say that Napier probably did it.
Shane Beamer.
Beamer did it.
Napier did it.
I got those two.
Did Napier do
Can
it?
I get a Muse, can I get a ding for BK Napier? That's 2.
Okay.
So
or no, Beamer.
There we go. It was a no-go. I was wrong on Eli, so we can get. That's not a terrible ding. So I get an X for Eli, but I feel like that's kind of like with an asterisk there.
Yeah, I was shocked. By the way, wasn't that the most interesting?
What?
Drink was weird yesterday.
I didn't talk to him. He came, did one Radio Row interview, and left.
Drink doesn't have to be the gimmicky guy anymore. He's the SEC Coach of the Year, won 11 games, got a little swag, recruiting's going well. Like, you don't have to come in here and
I don't know, man. You might want to win a few, have a few double-digit win seasons before you sort of take that victory lap, dog. I mean, this league's unforgiving.
It is.
You all know that.
That's my theory. Are you calling BS on that?
What?
The fact that Drink is more like tranquilized this year because he actually knows he has a really good team and he does not want to do anything to jeopardize and screw that up?
I just think he doesn't feel like he has to be gimmicky, man.
Yep.
Just come, show up, and rest on your laurels.
Sark.
Ding.
He did it.
Give me the ding. Got it.
Sark did. It looks like a Longhorn, so
yep,
fine.
No doubt.
You know who I was shocked who didn't do it?
Heupel.
Heupel did not do it. Brent Venables did not do it.
Oh, no?
Yeah, figure the Oklahoma deal. I don't know if it because it looks like
Texas,
looks like
no
a
doubt.
bull.
Yeah,
or
looks
something
like a bull,
along
looks
those
like Texas, no
lines,
doubt,
but
no doubt.
I figured he would at least have the cowboy hat. No.
He did take some pictures away from the bull, though. I think he did it on the couch.
Yeah, but we're talking
straight bull
here.
Who else?
Raw
who was weird?
No.
Who's weird?
Who was weird this week? You just said like Eli Drinkwitz was quiet. Who else was not?
I tell you who I'm going to go opposite end of the spectrum, man. I was really impressed with Brent Venables. I thought he and Sark were awesome. They're going to be perfect additions into this conference full of alpha coaches. Obviously, the brands that Texas and OU brings fit in perfectly. But in terms of coaches, they got the confidence, I think, to fit in with this group here.
How was your boy Napier? I know you just had an interview with him.
Yeah, he was awesome, man. I thought Coach Napier, he feels sneakily confident about the team they have. You know, they made some changes on the coaching staff, particularly the defensive side, new strength and conditioning coach. They've added some veteran guys to the portal. I think he likes this team quietly.
Okay. Are we talking about sports?
Why are we? We shouldn't be.
I thought you two, when you came here, you specifically didn't talk about sports.
That's our whole.
You know what it is?
Cowboy hats. It's riding the bull.
It's that we don't talk about sports on our actual show. We go on your show to actual have the sports on.
I'm okay with that. When's the next bet? Will it be the football bet?
It's always. I have so many people come up to me, the Gator fans, like, you need to stop betting PB. I'm like, I'm never going to stop betting PB. I'm a Florida guy. I'm always going to take that action. So, you know, I've lost 5 straight, a little bit of a 5 or 6.
6 if you count
5
the College
football,
World Series. Yeah.
5 football,
5
6
football.
bets.
Yeah,
and
factually correct.
Yeah, this year's not maybe it's in the swamp.
It is funny because they had just got done Moscona with an interview with Billy Napier up at Sirius XM, and I walk in right as they're finishing up, and I just say hi to Coach Napier and stuff like that, and he goes, "Got to get you in some Florida gear coming up this year." So my man is even aware.
Oh, he told me last year here at this event, he's like, "We got to get you off the schneid," and I was like, "Yes, please do." And then the defense did not help.
Yeah, I don't know if this is gonna be the year either. What do you think? Yes, no?
You called it last year. This guy called it last year. Even as a Florida great and the guy that knows it, you said he didn't think they were going to be very good. You said
last
5
year,
wins.
I had him at 5 wins.
You pegged it
5 wins.
pretty much perfectly.
Yeah.
Okay.
This year I have him at 7 wins. So I think
which is maybe higher than.
Well, I think the win total's at like 4.5, 5.
Yeah.
So I think
7.
I think Florida's going to be better.
Where are the 7 wins?
Well, here's the deal.
Do you all know the Wi-Fi in this building is terrible?
It sucks.
What is like?
I don't
this
know.
is
The whole, even up in the rooms, everywhere, it's terrible.
It took me 3 hours to record Locked on LSU 2 nights ago because the Wi-Fi was so bad.
Kept crapping out on you?
I'm like, this is just unfathomable. Everything here has been great. Like literally all the stuff. I don't know if y'all like.
It's been a good week, actually.
The fans, they don't care where we are. They just want the content. Like it doesn't matter. We could be on the moon. It's more for us. I think it's the feasibility to do our jobs. I love this setup. Everything's been great. It's unfathomable to me in like an AT&T hub that we have terrible Wi-Fi in this building. Like, how is that possible?
Well, that was the whole deal. Like going to San Antonio Spurs games, it was in the AT&T Center, and you could never get any kind of service in the AT&T.
Ironic.
So good.
Hey, is the favorite show you do the one with T-Bob on Saturday post game?
Why? You know what's so? No, that's
Whiskey
not my
and
favorite.
Wine?
That's not my favorite
So it
show.
is?
That is Whiskey and Wine.
What's your favorite show you do?
I don't.
Probably his own.
Maybe this one. Yeah. I don't know that I have a favorite, but it is interesting to me.
See, I have 2 kids, and I definitely love one more than the other.
Yeah.
Don't say that.
Actually, I like one more than the other. I love them both equally.
Maybe I don't love my shows. Is that?
Oh, this is going to be some deep Dr. Phil type stuff. Tell
mean,
me
is that-
why.
Your solo show?
It's still work.
Yeah.
I mean, I love what I do. I have a lot of fun doing what I do. The Whiskey and Wine, the reason it's interesting is I've been on the air for a long time now, and most people, when they talk to me now, lead with, "Hey, you're the guy from the Cigar Bar Show."
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is what my career has been.
So
boiled
that's what
down
it is.
to.
You don't like being the number 2 to T-Bob. Is that what it is?
No, I think that show works perfectly.
You do a great job. It's like trying to, keep it on the
Honestly,
rails.
it does not work without you.
Yeah.
You have to be that guy.
Yeah, the dynamic has to be there in a tandem show. If it was just T-Bob yelling, it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was just me solo in there, I don't think that would work either. So, certainly not to the degree either that it works as it does. I'm perfectly fine with it. I mean, as I've always said it like this with what we do, it's almost like with artists or musicians. You can't make people like your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? If you're a painter, if you're a musician, you can't make someone love what you do. You just put it out there and you see if people like it. So I've always said, man, I'm not really emotional about this. As long as people listen and watch, I'll keep doing this job. If tomorrow everybody says, "Dude, you suck," and they're done with you, I'll go sell roofs. I mean, I'll figure it out. You know what I mean? I'm just not emotional about the.
It's a random thing to say you'll go do. Have you thought about that?
Well, I'm an owner in a roofing company.
I didn't know that.
Literally. It's like you saying, if I don't like radio, I'll probably go own a big mortgage company in Florida. Well, that's what you do.
See, like right there at the bottom slate, Paris Construction and Roofing. That's the company that I'm a partner in.
My mortgage company is Chris Doering Mortgage. Everybody knows it's mine. I wouldn't know that was yours.
I'm one of a handful of partners. There's 5 of us that are ownership.
Good.
That are owners.
Do you pray for like hailstorms and like windstorms and stuff?
Okay, here's what I would say.
He loves to help people out in times of need. I believe that would be the way to put it.
So it's unavoidable where we live. You're going to have bad weather and people's roofs are going to get damaged.
Yeah.
If the fact is, like, if a hurricane came, like Hurricane Ida a few years ago, there's a huge economic windfall for our company.
Mm-hmm.
That's an undeniable truth. I would rather not have a storm come wreck our economy and wreck lives and all that stuff. Like, can we just have some wind that blows a few shingles off? Like, that would be good. Yeah, just some wind, a little wind.
I'm in the midst of suing my my insurance company right now because they're not, denying my claim. So
on the roof?
Yeah.
We can help you out. Just listen. We got insurance professionals at Parish Construction and Roofing on staff.
Right into a live read.
What's your favorite lawsuit? 225.
Are y'all leaving or can you hang for? Because I got a break.
I got a 5:30 I got to go do.
All right.
So I'll leave you here
I've
with
got
Peter
nothing
Burns.
to do.
All right, Doering's going to go.
Just bored.
I have our Wednesday shows are sponsored by Pluckers. They do trivia, and I always our producer Musso, I always hit him with a sampling of Pluckers trivia questions. It's a fun way to sort of promote the thing. I'll quiz you when we come back if you want to do them. It's 90s trivia this week.
Oh, that's right up his alley.
I know, you're going to nail
so
it.
good.
I know.
Appreciate you having me, brother. Love you,
You're
man.
the best. Thank you so much. That's Chris Doering. This is After Further Review. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. Radio Row, SEC Football Media Days. When we return, Peter Burns takes his shot at trivia. Musso's.
I'm so glad Doering's not here any longer.
I know, he's the worst.
The worst.
God, I mean, like, he walks around with his tight shirts all the time, just trying to make everybody
mediums.
feel. I know,
What are we
like,
doing?
Medium. It's like, come on, dude, we get it. All right, you're 55 and you have abs. We get it. All right, why don't you go take your shirt off on Radio Row?
Ridiculous.
I know. All right, stay here at AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time, or you don't pay a dime. Give them a buzz, 752-0001, 752-0001, or 1hourbr.com. And you know where to find them. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. Hey, look, when the temperatures hit triple digits, sometimes your AC struggles to keep up. If that's you, call the best. Call our friends at River City's 1 Hour Air. I love this 5-star review from Felicia Jackson, who said, Kevin Webb, technician, serviced my home on July 11th, again on July 12th, did a phenomenal job. Not only was he very professional, respectful, he was very thorough. Kevin took the time to explain everything in detail, made sure I was well informed about the services he provided, and he brought to light the services that I needed moving forward. It was an absolute pleasure having someone with his level of expertise providing valuable services to my home. He is definitely the best. Another 5-star Google review for River City's 1 Hour Air. If you have issues with your HVAC, call the best. Call River City's 1 Hour Air, 752-0001.
I've been doing business with Lebby for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $20,000 off new 23 Ram 1500 trucks. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $20,000 off the powerful Ram truck. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, party plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques, Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Pluckers Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Pluckers Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
All right, rolling along here from Radio Row, Peter Burns, SEC Network, still hanging out with us. Oh, look, there's T-Bob right there.
Hey, look at that guy.
Is he wearing a swimsuit?
I don't know, but you would get kicked out of Catholic school
Is that
for shorts that far above the knee.
I know.
It's a good look.
What is he doing?
Right there. See? Howdy, ma'am. And it's got the purple.
That's something.
It's good.
Good, man. Just doing some radio.
I feel comfortable
Thanks.
about that at all. No, it's mine.
He got one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I guess. Why not?
Thank you.
Yeah, why not? Okay.
Why? It's a free-for-all.
I guess so. So now T-Bob just walked down here, and I guess this is what happens when we get to the end
Hey, buddy.
when we get to the end of
your right nipple is extremely hard
I'll
right
move.
now. Is it
Why
that
don't you
cold
go
in
in
here?
the
No, my
What's the deal?
My nipples naturally are very hard. In fact, my barber the other day asked me when I left that he told me they were discussing whether or not all of my shirts had built-in nipples, like the old George Clooney bat suit.
Muse.
This is more of a right nipple than a left nipple thing.
Muse. Hit the Pluckers Trivia open.
Those are really firm.
It's time for Pluckers Trivia. How many will Musso get wrong today? Pluckers Trivia. Every Wednesday night, 7:30 at Bluebonnet, 8 o'clock at Nicholson.
Okay, so every Wednesday, of course. Oh, you were wearing those the other day when you came here.
Good. Little Tiger Joe.
Oh, so good.
That was sweet.
Tiger Joe. Muse, you can keep the music in our ears. I kind of like it, and I can control the volume here, so we're good. You can keep the music in our ears.
It's in yours. It's.
No, it's not. I don't hear it. It
It's
was
playing over the air though.
Okay,
but I want to hear it.
I killed the echo.
It does an echo thing. We have the same. I thought it doesn't do
No,
an
we
echo
heard it
thing.
fine there.
Well, because we weren't talking.
It echoes on air.
Oh, it echoes.
Oh, it echoes on air. Okay, never mind then. Okay. So every Wednesday is trivia over at Pluckers, 7:30 Bluebonnet, 8 o'clock Nicholson. I usually ask these three questions to Muse. He is awful at trivia. Hey, you know what was amazing? Last week, one of the questions was which men's tennis star won 6 Wimbledon titles in the 90s? And would you happen to know?
Linda would have been in the 80s, so Agassi?
Not Agassi.
Sampras.
Well, you know the answer.
But also I do remember my tennis memories of being a kid were Agassi Sampras battles when Agassi was already bald. I didn't remember mulleted Agassi. That was before me.
Not only did Muse not know the answer was Pete Sampras, when I told him Pete Sampras, his response was, "Who?"
Yeah.
Ooh, didn't even know who Pete Sampras.
But I mean, okay, but
should that be a fireable offense at a sports talk radio station?
I mean, you're talking tennis, and you're also talking 35 years ago.
Well, and Pete Sampras was a dog, but he also was the most normal-looking dog ever. If you had to talk, if a police sketch artist was describe Pete Sampras, it'd be I
don't know,
white guy, average height, curly, short,
looks like
black
an assistant
hair.
manager at Gap.
Yeah, he is very, very generic looking. Yeah. Agassi had both long hair, sex appeal, and bald sex appeal, which is crazy.
Dual sex appeal.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Name 2 of the 3 NFL teams that were founded in the 90s.
Are we doing it? How's it work? Buzzer situation, or do we just go if we think we have
Jackson Texans, thank you.
Not the Texans.
Jags and the Browns.
No.
I thought Tim Couch would have been late.
Ravens?
Ravens. And one more?
Down in the 90s.
Oh, it's not going to be the Titans, is it?
Oh.
Is it Tennessee Titans?
No.
What am I doing?
Dude, you're freaking me out with that
without-
hand
yeah,
thing.
what's
You're
the-
very distracting.
Three. I think they're one.
Yeah,
It's where you live.
Oh, the Carolina Panthers.
The Panthers.
I don't
the
even think
Panthers
of them
and
as
the
an NFL
Jags.
franchise. I'll
The
be honest
Panthers
with
and
you.
the Jags came in the same year in '95, and a year
95.
later, the Ravens came along.
Those
And
games
weren't
are,
they-
by the way, those games are so sad. I go to them, and
Really?
like coming from Death Valley to going to like the church clap of a noon kickoff on a Sunday at Carolina. I
And
was
usually
like, I can't do it.
it's so sparse there by the noon
Weren't
kickoff.
they
Okay.
both pretty much good immediately, too? Like, I know the Jags
Yeah.
made
They
the
both-
AFC
They
Championship. but beat
both,
the-
both made their conference championship
Yeah.
game in year two.
Yeah, in year two, that's right.
Neither won it, but both made their conference championship games in years two.
Brobridge, Louisiana.
Hell yeah.
Jake Delhomme.
Jake Delhomme was not the quarterback of the Panthers in '96.
Wait, when the second year was it? I assumed he was.
Because he was with the Saints first in the early aughts, and then went to the Panthers and got them to the Super Bowl when they lost.
So who was the quarterback on the NFC Championship appearance? team?
No, not Brunell.
Brunell was the quarterback
for
of
the Jags. That was
of
the Jags.
Jaguars.
Kerry Collins?
I believe it was Kerry Collins.
Kerry
because
Collins?
State?
Kerry Collins was last season at Penn State was '94. He was drafted in '95, so it had to be Kerry Collins.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. How about that?
Okay.
The Kerry Collins Giants game against the Vikings that one time in the playoffs.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one time they played a game. Name the 90s movie featuring the line, I got mind control over Devo.
Oh, it's Friday. Come on.
Okay, good. There we go. All
I
right.
didn't know if you were going to throw me like a Friday after next or next Friday curveball there.
Neither one of those were very good. Just the
I've
original
never
Friday
really
was
seen
great.
it, to be honest. I've seen
Okay,
original Friday a bunch.
Here's my controversial Friday take. Next Friday is better than Friday.
I've never seen it, so I'll have to recuse myself.
It's a good thing about takes is ever you can have one.
Mike Epps as Day-Day was a funnier character than
Is that where they
Chris
moved to Rancho Cucamonga?
Yes.
That is horrible.
No. You have got to watch.
Like I'm a connoisseur of
Mike Epps.
bad takes, especially on Sports Talk Radio,
You're
and
right.
I don't think I've ever had one that bad.
Mike Epps as Day-Day is a funnier character than Chris Tucker.
This is
as
like
Smokey.
Tiger Woods at Pebble.
I'm telling you, man.
Bad takes.
Watch it again, Nick. Watch it again. Craig's dad.
No, don't
factoring
stop
in as
selling me
well.
on this. There's no. This is a bridge
funny.
too far.
No,
He's doing like
When he's
he's
a bridge
doing,
Dorito.
he's doing a tin cup right now.
Yeah. No.
Give me
Yeah.
the ball.
Give me another one.
Give me another one.
Yeah.
No,
That's what I'm saying. He's going to keep swinging.
I'm not swinging. I'm not budging.
He's
I'm
gonna keep
sitting
hitting.
right here on my take, and I understand
That's what I'm saying.
that it's
You're defending
Are you a
convenient.
big
Going
game
for it.
boomer now?
It's
Is that who you are?
convenient. It's convenient and lazy
finally
just
made
to
the list.
assume that Friday was better. Watch them both again. Better written. I get the plot scene and all that. So the plot of both are all three of them are absurd. But Mike Epps' Day-Day is funnier than Chris Tucker's Smokey, and it makes the movie better.
That seems
Okay.
crazy.
Watch it again.
I know
Here we
I've
go.
never even seen the
Watch
second one,
it.
but Smokey's.
Watch it. All right, here we go. Number 3. What Star Trek series premiered in 1993?
Wait, hold on, wait, sorry, what?
What Star Trek series premiered?
Enterprise.
Next Generation.
Ooh.
What?
Those are the only two I know.
Deep Space Nine.
I mean, come
I
on.
wouldn't have gotten that either, but
Star
I had
Trek's
the answer on my
trash.
phone.
I will say that.
Well,
Star Trek
okay.
is trash.
I as a kid, I would have agreed with you. I watched some Next Generation as an adult. Next Generation's actually pretty fire. It's a little more philosophical. It's not as like it's a little more sci-fi, whereas Star Wars is like a little more classic fantasy. You know, like wizards and swords, and it's fun and it's an adventure. Star Trek's like a little more intellectual.
Drink Evermore.
Aw.
Have you ever had any Evermore? It's really good.
Yeah, you know, I was just thinking the other day, I was like, God, my favorite water is Evermore. And it was wild because it came to me like, I was just sitting there.
Natural artesian water, it's a healthier option for you, for your family. If you're a performance or endurance athlete, you want a better source of hydration, you want Evermore, and it's a Louisiana product. So don't get that crinkly plastic bottle from Texas. Why would you drink water from Texas?
I would never. You know, dude, you know me. I hate Texas. And yes, it's out of jealousy. And, like, you know, the fact they have a functional state economy and stuff, but F them.
But our water's better.
We do have good water.
Evermore.
We talk about that.
Evermore.
Well, I've always heard since I moved to Baton Rouge, we got
Evermore.
good water. That's what I've always heard.
Evermore. Evermore.com. Evermore.com. We're available at great local retailers. That's Evermore. All right. What are you doing?
I'm going to go to the pool.
Oh, so you are literally wearing a swimsuit?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought so. Okay, and you have a shirt, unbuttoned hat.
It's my pool shirt.
Someone, who was I talking to yesterday that when you were here the first day wearing a suit, and that was kind of like the bit, was that T-Bob who wears this all the time.
Yeah.
was in a suit. And I said, and someone said he's going to show up the next day without a shirtless. I said, no, he'll have a shirt. It's just going to be unbuttoned halfway down the chest.
Yep.
And sure enough, there you go.
There you go.
Halfway down the chest.
Yeah, I like showing cleavage. You know, I think if I was a woman, I would probably show a lot of cleavage.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
I
still can't get over this Friday take that you had. Like, I'm gonna need to sleep on that one for a little bit. Cole Kubelik has seen it a bunch. Real quick, Friday
Cole,
or
you wanna
next
come
Friday?
Here, you want to hop in on this? Come here.
No, I can't. I don't want to be a part of this conversation anymore. I'm
Okay.
done. I'm done. You've upset me.
I mean, you're entitled to your lazy opinion, which is fine, or you could actually challenge what's the accepted norm.
I spilled my goldfish.
Cole Kubelik has walked in here.
Oh, look,
we were
Peter
doing a 90s trivia segment.
I'm sorry, Cole. I feel like
Have you guys ever
I
had
invited you in this
goldfish
debate, and
grams?
Peter
This
just
is-
used you as an exit ramp.
He did.
These are pretty awesome.
Peter left.
Screw Peter.
I have to break
just
anyway.
trampolined right off.
He did. Peter's like, I don't want to be a part of this here, Cole. I'm leaving with my cowboy hat. I don't know where he's going.
What do you?
There was a line from
Goldfish
Friday.
grams. Try that.
Hell yeah.
There was a line from Friday, and somebody, I don't know if it was you or
man.
PB, that was like Friday, next Friday, and all that was junk. I said, I know this is a controversial take, but next Friday is better than Friday. And he got all offended and blah, 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 blah. And my point is, and will continue to be, that Mike Epps as Day-Day in next Friday is a funnier character than Chris Tucker as Smokey. Go back and watch the movies again.
What do you think, Cole?
We're on terrestrial radio right now?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, that's fine.
I think you're out here on an island map.
Again, I told you it was a controversial
I actually
take.
didn't say anything. I would have said if we're on something else. I have absolutely zero F's to give about that.
That's fine.
You don't have any passion for the subject?
No
I've
worries.
never seen next Friday, so I can't.
No
speak on
worries.
it either.
I'm not in any way offended by any.
Have you all ever
by
seen
sick-
Matrix Reloaded?
Peter cared that much about that to walk away?
I think he really just wanted to leave.
Yeah, no, I
and
think
so
he
that's
used
why he
you-
was like, Cole, come be a part of this. I got to
He
go.
used you as an exit.
It
ramp.
wasn't like he was he's still loitering. Like he just took off.
I'm glad I could help him
he's
with
at the elevator.
It's like a wrestling match. Tagged you in.
All right, I got to break.
you ever had those
We'll
before?
come
No,
back.
That was really good. That was really good. Not as good as Evermore,
Goldfish
but
grams.
good
That's so
nonetheless.
true.
Good. Not as good as oatmeal raisin cookies. From
Get
earlier
that
this
core
week.
out of here. Get out of here.
I know that is the disappointing
What
part of
happened
being
with that?
here.
Are you
this
guys
week.
Aquafina sponsor?
Evermore, dog.
Evermore.
Watch out.
Evermore.
Watch you talking to with them
Never heard-
E-boys.
Never heard about
With them
it.
E-boys.
Well, you need to. Dak
Is it
Prescott's
electric water?
No, it's natural,
Evermore.
natural artesian water. Okay, I got to go to break. We'll wrap up hour number 3, day 3 of Radio Row. Wrapping up next, AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Darren James and Associates, brokered by LPT Realty. Buying or selling commercial or residential. If you need a realtor, you need the best. You need Darren James. You give him a buzz. I tell you, Darren, sell every day. 335-7666, 335-7666. Call him, text him, 335-7666. Remember, just about a month ago, Wall Street Journal's list of the top 1% of realtors in America came out. Darren James, number 14 in the country. That's volume. That's number of sales and homes closed. So if you need to sell your home, why would you call anyone other than quite literally the realtor in Louisiana that sells more homes than anyone? That's Darren James. And right now, Darren has launched his brand new app. So if you're interested in real estate, buying or selling, start there. App Store, Google Play Store. Make sure you download the Darren James app. Just open up the App Store, search Darren James, download that app today. And remember, if you think real estate, think Darren James.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off F-150. $10,000 off the new 2024 Ford F-150. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, party plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com. Oh, by the way, we do shutters too.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. It's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Pluckers Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Pluckers Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Down the stretch we come, final segment here on this Hump Day edition of AFR presented by Pluckers. We do sincerely appreciate you for being here with us. Of course, our coverage all week long presented by Parish Construction and Roofing. Visit parishbuilt.com. Also, Rev Business and our friends at Relief Windows. It was a busy day here at SEC Football Media Days, and I wish we'd been able to have this conversation on air, but that segment sort of got derailed somewhat. But one of the things that when we were visiting with Peter Burns off air, Peter was saying, he was surprised that that he said, I'm paraphrasing, but Peter said something to the effect of, even he underestimated how big the ecosystem of the bubble around Texas was going to be. It already feels like, with all the conversation around Texas, it already feels like Texas has got that target the way Alabama and Georgia do and have in this league. Now, I think some of that here specifically this week stems from the fact that we're in Dallas. And this was absolutely the case for a very long time with SEC Media Days being in Hoover, where because of proximity, all of the Alabama media found their way to Media Days. For years and years and years, when the SEC Media Day, the preseason All-SEC teams in predicted order of finish came out, there was always such a heavy lean toward Alabama because there was so much Alabama media at Media Days. As it started to move around, there's a lot of, the local, the blogger, the website, the podcaster who would get credentialed for Media Days in Hoover that didn't travel to Atlanta or Nashville or here to Dallas. So you've seen less of the glut of Alabama media than you saw in Hoover. Well, here, that's the case for Texas because everybody is either here in Dallas or they're in Houston. It's just it feels like all of the media that covers Texas that's here is either from Dallas or within maybe a 2-hour drive. Makes it very feasible to get here. There's a station, The Ticket, here in Dallas that's on Radio Row, and I was chatting with them earlier, and they are so heavily focused on Cowboys training camp, which is coming up. Their staff is going out to Oxnard, California for Cowboys training camp. This was let's see how it goes one-off, and they're in Dallas. My point is, if this event was in Nashville or Atlanta again, The Ticket from Dallas wouldn't be here. So all that to say, part of the reason I think there was so much talk and energy and buzz around Texas, yes, they're coming into the league for the first time, all that stuff that's very natural, but I just do think there's also a glut of Texas media here because we're in Dallas. All right, we're brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com, new and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com. Tell you every day, if you're thinking of buying a new vehicle and you haven't ever driven a Volkswagen. If you ever thought about Volkswagen, stop on by and see our friends at South Point Volkswagen. Sit behind the wheel. Until I started endorsing them, I'd never driven a VW. I said, let me drive every single different make that they have, or every model. And I was blown away by the style, the feel, the performance of luxury without the cost, the safety features. And now that's all Eric and I drive and have driven for a decade. Just go test drive a Volkswagen and experience that great German engineering without the cost. Of course, manufactured right here in the US of A at their Chattanooga, Tennessee plant. SouthPointVW.com. South Point Volkswagen, what's your direction? Okay, normally at SEC Media Days for many years, we would submit our ballots for all SEC and order a finish before the final day, and on the final day we would get the results. They've since changed that now, so all of the ballots will be due tomorrow, and then on Friday we'll know what the media says as far as preseason all SEC and predicted order of finish. You know where I stand. I've said this many times. My top two are Georgia, Texas in some order. Either Georgia, Texas, Texas, Georgia. I'll probably make that decision tonight. I do think Ole Miss is the third. It will not only are they the third best team, I also look at their schedule, and I think they're the third most likely to make the college football playoff. So everything after that, I'll probably start to figure out as we make our way through the remainder of this day. I'll give it some thought, and we'll vote tomorrow, and I'll completely reveal my ballot. Not that my ballot means any more than yours or anybody else's. I'm willing, certainly, to be open and transparent and share with you exactly how I voted. So we'll get to that on tomorrow's show, and then, of course, Friday we'll have all of the results there. All right, man, many thanks to all of our guests today. It was a really, really fun show, and God, we got a lot done. Tomorrow's going to be a busy day as well. Thanks to Jim Nagy, the Senior Bowl, Montrell Johnson, the running back from Florida, Zach Salmon, Mississippi State's athletic director. We had Carolin Fenton, Chris Doering, Mia O'Brien. You heard Cole Kublick. T-Bob jumped in here a bit as well. Blake Shapen, the Mississippi State quarterback. We covered a lot of ground today. Remember, if you've missed any of our content, you can get it on demand. However you get podcasts, search After Further Review or on our YouTube channel. Muse, Paulie, thanks. Rivers Huey on site. Y'all have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow at 3.
AFR.
All right, as we get on down the road, remind you about our friends over at First South Farm Credit. If you're thinking of buying land, your first call, your first option should be First South Farm Credit. So go to firstsouthland.com, firstsouthland.com. Remember, when you borrow money, and at some point a lot of us do, if it's credit cards or if it's homeowner loans or whatever it might be, you ever had a lender write you a check? At First South Farm Credit, that happens every year. It's their patronage refund. Because they're a cooperative, they share in their profits with their borrowers, which effectively lowers your cost of borrowing. So if you're at a 5% rate with that patronage refund, it's really almost like, say, a 4% rate. Learn more at firstsouthland.com. They've been around since 1916. They're the best. First South Farm Credit. Go to firstsouthland.com.
Érase una vez un Infinity, diseñado para despertar tu imaginación y desafiarte a soñar. Con 3 lujosas filas de asientos. El totalmente nuevo Infinity QX80 de 3 filas.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com.
Gulf Coast office